Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei becomes Lucifuge Heir. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. In the study room, a sense of anticipation filled the air as the family gathered. Euclid Lucifuge, the father, sat at the desk, reviewing ancient texts. His silver hair glimmered under the soft light, and the 4 sets of devil wings behind him hinted at his powerful lineage. Reiko Lucifuge-Sitri, his wife, stood nearby, her presence calm and reassuring. Their younger daughter, Olivia, was busy organizing the books scattered across the table, her youthful energy evident as she hummed a cheerful tune. Richard Lucifer, Euclid's brother, entered the room with a warm smile. He was followed closely by Graphia, his wife, who carried a tray of refreshments. The cousins, Kana, Gray, Seraphal, and Sona, soon joined them, filling the room with laughter and chatter. As they settled in, Valerie Lucifer, Euclid's rival, made an unexpected entrance. Her silver hair and confident demeanor commanded attention. The atmosphere shifted slightly, but the family welcomed her with open arms, knowing that their bonds were stronger than any rivalry. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, the adopted family of Hyodo Goro and Miki was also coming together. Their daughter, Isabella, was excitedly sharing stories of her day, her enthusiasm infectious. The warmth of their home contrasted with the complexities of the Lucifuge family, yet both families shared a deep connection that transcended bloodlines. As the evening progressed, discussions of strategy and alliances filled the air, each member contributing their unique perspectives. The blend of different backgrounds and experiences created a rich tapestry of relationships, each thread woven tightly with love and respect. In this moment, amidst the laughter and shared stories, the families found strength in their unity, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Richard Lucifer, the head of the Lucifer household, looked at his daughter, Kana, who stood before him, with his wife, Graphia, standing behind him. He spoke first. "What's on your mind, Kana? It must be important if it can't wait until morning." Kana replied, "I heard a rumor about some rogue fallen angels in Ku. They are watching a human boy named Hyodo issei. One of them, who goes by Amano Yuma but is actually named Rainer, plans to approach him soon. I believe she intends to exploit his nature and kill him next week. What troubles me most is that Lord Surzex's sister is aware of this and seems willing to let it happen, using it as an opportunity to reincarnate him into her peerage." She paused, then continued before her father could respond. "As you know, father, Riser Phoenix has pushed their wedding date forward, causing her to act irrationally. She is prepared to let that boy die for her own selfish reasons." Richard pinched the bridge of his nose and sighed. "In that case, I want you to protect that boy. I will deal with that spoiled heiress myself. If Lady Amaterasu from the Shinto faction hears about this, she will be furious." She entrusted the territory of Ku to both the Gremory and Sitri heiresses. Rius Gremory's abuse of her authority for personal gain cannot be overlooked. He glanced at Graphia, who was gently massaging his shoulders. "I need you to come with me. That girl will be a significant problem in the future. We need to correct her arrogant mindset." Graphia nodded in agreement. "Of course, dear." She then turned her attention back to Kana. "Kana, inform Valerie about this situation so that Azazel is aware of the rogue fallen angels. I expect the nun, Asia Argento, to arrive in Ku in 2 weeks after her excommunication from the church. I want you to ensure Valerie keeps an eye on her. Your father is already stressed enough, and Rius has caused nothing but trouble. We must keep those 2 humans safe from the fallen." Kana nodded. "Yes, mother. I will make sure of that. If the fallen choose to retaliate, may I eliminate them, father?" Richard nodded. "Yes, but make sure to extract information from one of them before you do. I suspect they are working for Kokabil, who likely intends to reignite the war. I cannot allow that to happen." He continued, "The 3 factions have lost thousands of lives in the Great War, especially us, the Devils, during the Civil War. The pure-blooded devils of the 72 Pillars have been halved. Those councils only care about their status and force heiresses into arranged marriages with other households. Curious, Kana asked. Then why am I the only heiress not forced into an arranged marriage? Before Richard could respond, Grafia interjected. It's because those councils fear your father. He is the strongest super devil, now a Satan and the king of all devils after your grandfather. He defeated both heavenly dragons single-handedly, using only 40% of his power. No devil in the underworld is stronger than him. His title is not just for show. Kana was surprised by the extent of her father's strength. I see. That explains everything. Grafia smiled softly. This is one reason I love your father so much. He is dependable, caring for others, and willing to risk his life for those he loves. That is who Richard Lucifer is. Richard took her hand. I can say the same about you, my love. You gave me the most appealing treasure we created together, our daughter. It's a shame my younger brother and nephew fell so low. If they hadn't succumbed to their lust for power, I wouldn't have had to take their lives. However, to ensure the safety of the underworld, I would do it all over again. Thankfully, I have you, our daughter, and my grandniece, Valerie. Grafia nodded. I understand, dear. I lost my little brother in the Civil War. You opened my eyes when you joined the anti-Satan faction to restore both the Lucifer and Lucifuge households to their former glory. She gently rubbed her stomach before looking at Kana. The heir of the Lucifuge household will be born eventually. So, Kana, do your best as the heiress of the Lucifer household. We have absolute faith in you. We raised you to be the true heiress that Surzex and his father failed to be. Kana felt proud to be the daughter of Richard Lucifer and Grafia Lucifuge. They had taught her everything and raised her to be a competent heiress. The news of her having a younger brother filled her with happiness. Congratulations are in order, mother and father. I, Kana Lucifer, will bring the Lucifer household back to its former glory. Richard smiled at her declaration. I know you will, and I am proud of you. You should rest now, you need it for tomorrow. Grafia added, you deserve it. Kana approached her mother and gently rested her head on her belly. Sleep well, little brother, she said before running off to her room. She felt a pang of guilt for not revealing to her mother that the boy was her nephew, as she sensed he shared the same aura. Kana thought, I'm sorry, mother, but little brother isn't going to be the heir of the Lucifuge. Grafia looked at Richard with concern. Are you okay, dear? Richard replied, Not really, but I will be. I have you in our family, and that's all I need. He smiled. Richard snapped his fingers, and two familiars appeared in the room via a magic circle. The white-haired familiar knelt before him, followed by Wendy. You called us, sir? Mir asked. Rius and Sona were gasping for air, their nerves heightened by the presence of Richard Lucifer, the strongest devil in the underworld. Their peerage members shared their anxiety, feeling the weight of the situation even more acutely. Richard sat on the sofa, sipping tea prepared by Grafia, who stood attentively behind him. He set his cup down and addressed them. Rius Gremory, I am highly disappointed in you, Richard began, his voice steady but filled with authority. Your misuse of power in Ku is unacceptable. If Lady Amaterasu learns of your actions, we devils will face severe consequences, losing control over Ku, which she entrusted to your siblings. You, as the heiress of the Gremory household, and Sona-Sitri, heiress of the Sitri household, are responsible here. I understand your longing for freedom, but... A silver aura enveloped Richard, shaking the room as he continued. You intend to force a human to fight an unknown enemy for you, and you allow a rogue fallen angel to roam Ku, intending to recruit him afterward. These plans are intolerable and will not be overlooked. You will not lay a finger on that boy unless you disclose everything about your circumstances and ask him to join willingly. My daughter will attend this academy to watch over him. I have also sent my grandniece to keep an eye on the nun who will soon be excommunicated and sent here in 2 weeks. Sona-Sitri, I expect you and your peerage to eliminate every last stray devil. He turned his glare back to Rius. As for you, I want you and your peerage to train for the next 2 months. I will send Grafia and a few of my servants to ensure you all improve. You have become complacent to the point that even the weakest pawns of Riser could defeat you without effort. If you want your freedom, you must work hard for it. It is disappointing that your brother, whom I chose as the next Lucifer, has a younger sister who is spoiled, prideful, and selfish. Both he and your father have indulged you too much, leading you to believe you can have anything you want without consequence. Just because you are his sister does not mean you can escape proper punishment for your actions. You youngsters have much to learn about Devil Society. Richard finished, allowing Grafia to speak. As my husband mentioned, Rius, your actions could lead us, the devils, to ruin if Lady Amaterasu discovers your schemes and your abuse of power in Ku, which was once under the Shinto pantheon. You are relying on others without improving yourself, taking everything for granted. My daughter will oversee Ku to ensure no innocent human is forced into the supernatural world against their will. Remember, she is an ultimate class devil, on par with Daihauser Belial in strength. She may not participate in the raiding game, but she is far more powerful than you and most here, so humble yourself. Richard retracted his aura, and Kana entered, eager to share her perspective. My parents are right, Kana stated. You rely too much on others to do your bidding instead of taking action yourself. Your capabilities as a king are lacking. You may be a high-class devil in name, but your overall power level is disappointingly low. The way you wield your power of destruction is weak compared to your brother's mastery of it. Forgive my rudeness. I am Kana Lucifer, heiress of the Lucifer household. She bowed respectfully before continuing. Your selfish endeavors have caused enough trouble for my father, the king of all devils. Everything you or any devil does burdens him with consequences. I may not have fought in the Great War or the Civil War, but I have learned about them and how easily he overpowered 2 heavenly dragons with just a fraction of his power. Kana elaborated further. The Devil's Council fears him to the point that they have not pressured me into an arranged marriage to produce pure-blooded heirs. They know better than to provoke the strongest super devil. As the heiress of the Lucifer household, I was raised to be competent, humble, caring, and kind-hearted, treating everyone in my peerage as family, not as mere servants. Just because I do not participate in the raiding game does not mean I lack my own peerage members. I have a queen, knights, rooks, and a bishop. I believe both Hyodo Issei and Asia Argento would make excellent additions to my peerage, provided my parents allow it. Otherwise, I cannot recruit them, especially since you might try to add them against their will. She concluded her thoughts, and Richard and Grafia exchanged proud glances, pleased with their daughter's demeanor. Richard then inquired, "How is that boy, Kana? Is the fallen still observing him?" Kana nodded, looking at her parents. "Yes, father. That boy wields a powerful sacred gear, divine dividing, also known as the White Dragon of Supremacy." Rius and the others, except Richard and Grafia, were taken aback, not expecting Issei Hyodo to possess such power. Richard responded, "I see. Then it is confirmed that he poses a threat to them. If that boy trains to master his abilities, he will become a formidable opponent. I grant you permission to train him personally, but only after Valerie sends that nun to you. Until then, keep watch over him. The nun's sacred gear is rare, and the fallen would do anything to obtain it, even at the cost of her life. After you train them both, invite them to join your peerage. They will be safe under your protection." Rius seethed internally, realizing her plans had been discovered and that she was losing a valuable potential ally. She began to plot how to win Issei over, determined to manipulate him to fulfill her desires. Kana smiled at her father, grateful for his support. "Thank you, father. I will treat them as my own family instead of servants," Richard said, smiling. Grafia then added, "But make sure to address his inappropriate behavior. I don't want him to tarnish my daughter's purity." Richard sighed at her words. "I agree with your mother. His behavior is one of the reasons he's in this situation in the first place," he stated firmly. Kana nodded in agreement with her parents. "Very well, mother, father. If you will excuse me," she said, bowing respectfully before leaving the council office. Sona took a deep breath, gathering her courage to speak. "Lord Lucifer, I sincerely apologize on behalf of my friend, Rius, for her immaturity and unacceptable actions. I am grateful for your intervention in stopping Rius from committing a serious mistake, my lord. I assure you it won't happen again. As you commanded earlier, I, Supremacy, along with my peerage members, will eliminate all stray devils in Kutown. She knelt before him, soon followed by her peerage. He answered, Yes. I want you both to do something for me in return. You may have as many souls and bodies as you want. There are many stray devils residing in Ku. Wendy decided to ask, If I may ask, what task do you have for us? He replied, Wendy, I want you to assist the heiress of the Sitri household and her peerage in exterminating all stray devils. Those strays will be divided between Mira and you, each will receive half. He continued, And Mira, your task is to train the heiress of the Greorys household and her peerage with Graphia for 2 months straight. Graphia can't do much since she is expecting our second child, so she will only be able to give them pointers. Don't go easy on them, especially Rius Greorys. That is your task. Mira Jane and Wendy got to their feet and saluted. Yes, Wendy asked. So when will we begin? Day after tomorrow. I need to take care of a few things before you two start your tasks. You may go rest for now, I'll summon you again when I need you. With that, they both vanished in a puff of smoke. Graphia looked at her husband and asked, You don't intend to go easy on Rius Greorys, do you? He glanced back at her and replied, No. That girl needs to learn some humility and respect for beings of other races, especially humans, whom she is so eager to drag into the supernatural world. Her pride and arrogance need to be addressed. He stood up from his chair and kissed her gently, which she reciprocated, wrapping her arms around his neck and deepening the kiss. After a few moments, he broke the kiss slowly. I love you, my sweet Graphia. He smiled softly. And I love you too, my king, she replied, resting her head on his chest. Let's go to bed. We have a rough day tomorrow. The next day in the student council office, Richard spoke with a satisfied expression on his face. Good, very good. You have shown me what a true king should do in their territory. As a reward, I'll speak with Azizel, the governor, to find all parts of Ritra. Boy, stand up. Saji immediately got to his feet and looked at the silver-haired man before him. What's your name, boy? My name is Saji Genshiro, my lord, he replied humbly. Richard continued, What is your dream when you become a high-class devil? Saji looked at his king and then back at him. My dream is to become a teacher when my king, Supremacy, opens a school for low-class devils. Richard smiled upon hearing that, as did Graphia, who found it admirable. Good, very good. That is admirable and honorable. I'm very pleased with your loyalty, Genshirin. Saji bowed respectfully. Thank you so much, my lord. Sona was happy to know that her pawn would support her dream. Rius wanted to retort after being berated so much by the head of the Lucifer household, as her pride couldn't accept it, but she was stopped by her queen, Akino, who shook her head and whispered, Enough, Rius. I told you this idea of yours to get Hyodo in your peerage was foolish. Lord Lucifer was kind enough to clean up the mess you made. He is the king of all devils, in case you've forgotten. Lord Surzex and the other Maos wouldn't dare to anger him. Don't act foolishly. He suffered the consequences because of your scheme that abused her authority in this town. Richard, noticing the tense looks on both Rius and her queen's faces as they glared at each other, decided to ask, Rius Greorys, you aren't satisfied that I stopped your plan, are you? Feel free to express your dissatisfaction. That will only prove your friend's words about your immaturity and intolerable behavior. As of now, you have shown me what a true general does, which is very unimpressive. Unfortunately, you are a king in your peerage, not a general, so I suggest you show me what a true king should do. Let's see. He paused as he looked at her rook piece, then continued, Do you know that your own rook is slowly going to self-destruct? Her body hasn't grown as it should. With her not accepting her own power, it is no different than humans who are not eating. Have you ever helped your peerage overcome their own problems or fears? Rius looked down, unable to answer his questions. She had been so focused on her own issues that she overlooked her peerage's struggles. Grayfia decided to chime in before her husband could speak. I guess that's a no then. This shows everyone how incompetent of a king you are. Not only have you not trained them or yourself, but you've also overlooked their issues while prioritizing your own. I begin to wonder what Surzex sees in your capability as a true king when he entrusted Chiron to you. Richard let out a deep sigh and said, I suppose I should discuss this with Surzex so that he can address her selfish, arrogant, and prideful behavior that he himself created within her. As for her peerage members, I will let Surzex decide. Venelana can surely fix her daughter's behavior. However, she might not be able to, considering she is known as the most sadistic devil in the underworld. Not even I want to get near that woman. He looked at the heiress of the Gremory and added 3 words that would strike pure horror in her soul. Good luck, princess. Richard addressed Surzex and Seraphol with a calm demeanor that masked his anger. Get on your feet. We have much to discuss, and Seraphol, please change your outfit. It is unbecoming of a Mao to behave so childishly, especially today. Both Surzex and Seraphol quickly complied, with Seraphol changing into her formal attire to avoid further upsetting Richard. Surzex, still nervous, spoke up. My lord, if I may ask, what brings you to this town? Richard sighed, taking a sip of his tea before responding. Oh, nothing much. Just here to address a situation before it escalates, thanks to a certain individual who is abusing her power for selfish reasons. Allowing Rogue Fallen to roam in Ku and observing a human boy who poses a legitimate threat to them. That individual intends to recruit him into her peerage by putting his life at risk. Do you understand, Surzex? Surzex shifted his gaze to his sister, then back to Richard. I apologize, my lord. I didn't expect my sister to plan something so heinous just to escape an arranged marriage. Seraphol looked at Rius with disappointment. Grayfia interjected before Surzex could respond. Do you realize how much this will affect us, Surzex? If Lady Amaterasu learns of this scheme, my husband will face severe consequences. He entrusted you and Seraphol to oversee this town, allowing both your sisters to take charge. Yet Rius has abused her power, letting those fallen act freely in devil territory. Richard continued, to rectify this, I sent my daughter to monitor that boy while your sisters are overseen by my grandniece, the host of Draig, the Red Dragon of Domination. That boy is her rival, so I trust you can deduce the nature of his sacred gear. Both Surzex and Seraphol's eyes widened as they connected the dots. Seraphol spoke up, My lord, you don't mean his sacred gear is divine dividing, do you? Richard nodded. Exactly. That boy is the host of Albion, the White Dragon of Supremacy. He is a legitimate threat to the fallen, and sooner or later, they will seek to eliminate him. To prevent his impending death, you understand why my daughter plays a vital role, correct? Seraphol nodded in agreement. Surzex then asked, My lord, if I may inquire, why did you send your grandniece to watch over the sisters? Grayfia answered before he could continue. It's simple, Surzex. My husband believes that the excommunication of many holy maidens before their sudden disappearances was orchestrated by a devil with vile intentions. To make matters worse, the Devil Council allowed this to happen because that devil is the younger brother of one of the 4 devil kings. Rius and Sona are certainly not on the suspect list. Surely you can connect the dots. Both Surzex and Seraphol looked down, unable to respond. Richard's voice rose with anger. Given the despair on your faces, you know who my wife is referring to. That's right, Diodor Astroth. I believe he has aligned with the old Satan faction and committed these despicable acts behind your backs to satisfy his own desires. As painful as it is for Ajuka Beelzebub, you must inform him of his brother's actions. This has gone too far, and I will not tolerate such crimes. He must face the proper punishment for what he has done. As king of all devils, I must clean up the mess created by both your sister and Ajuka's brother. Her authority over Ku will be addressed later. For now, Surzex, I want you and Ajuka to arrest Diodora Astaroth and revoke his status as an heir of the Astaroth household. He has brought shame to Devil Society and sullied our name. He continued, Seraphol, I want you to rescue the holy maidens and interrogate them for evidence against Diodora in a trial. Ensure they reveal everything he said to them. The old Satan faction will soon make their move. Failure is not an option. You are both dismissed. Yes, my lord, they replied in unison as they returned to the underworld. Richard then prepared to summon others. He snapped his fingers, and 2 figures appeared through a magic circle. Wendy looked at him and asked, "You called us, her?" Rius and Sona, along with their peerage members, felt the overwhelming power radiating from the 2 figures. Sona decided to inquire, "My lord, who are these 2? Richard looked at Sona and answered, "These 2 are my familiars. Surely you have heard stories about them, the true Silver Dragon God and the true Chaos Karma Dragon God, who is the mother of Tiamat, the strongest Dragon King." Rius and Sona's eyes widened in fear as they recalled the tales of these dragon gods, known for their ruthlessness and lack of mercy towards enemies. The presence of such beings was intimidating. Richard continued, "Yes, Wendy. I summoned you both. Sona-Sitri, Wendy will accompany you and your group in the extermination of stray devils. She will step in whenever you need assistance. You may subdue them, but do not kill them. Those strays will serve as rewards for both Wendy and Mirajane. As for Mirajane, she will likely be training Rius and her peerage for 2 months, as Grafia cannot assist much due to her PRDNY. Grafia will provide pointers on what they should work on to cover their weaknesses." He added, "Riser Phoenix may be an embarrassment in Devil Society, but he possesses strength and experience in the raiding game. Rius Gremory, however, has no experience and has not trained adequately to MSTR her power of destruction. She needs to learn to use that power efficiently, just as Surzex did. Her peerage has their own issues, but that does not excuse them from training harder, except for Nikomata." Mirajane chuckled mischievously. "It seems I'm going to have so much fun with these kids. Be prepared, I'm going to show you true despair and suffering. This is going to be exciting." Wendy smirked as she looked at Mirajane, a glint of mischief in her eyes. "Good luck with that, princess. You and your group are going to need it. Mirajane is one of the most formidable opponents I've ever encountered. Compared to your mother, this will be child's play." In the corner of the office, Rius and her peerage huddled together, visibly shaken by the presence of Mirajane and her intimidating demeanor. Sona and her group exchanged worried glances, silently hoping for Rius and her friend's safety. Mirajane leaned closer, a playful smile on her lips. "Ah, poor things. Are you scared? That just makes this all the more enjoyable for me." The tension in the room was palpable as the confrontation loomed. As the discussion continued, 2 magic circles suddenly appeared in the office, revealing a crimson-haired man in his 20s and a bubbly raven-haired woman in cosplay. Richard sipped his tea, already anticipating their arrival. Surzex approached his sister, concern etched on his face. "Rius, are you okay? I sense an enormous amount of power spiking in this area. What happened?" Rius simply pointed at the crimson devil nearby. Surzex turned to see who she was indicating and was taken aback to find Grafia and Richard Lucifer. A wave of nervousness washed over him as he stood before the man who had bestowed the title of Lucifer upon him. He stammered, "O Lord L. Lucifer." Seraphal, who had been pestering Sona, stopped in her tracks, her eyes widening at the sight of the strongest super devil in his Satan form. "Oh Lord," she stammered, kneeling before him, soon followed by Surzex. Richard Lucifer gathered his peerage members in the throne room to discuss recent events in the human realm. "I have called you all here for a task I have for each one of you." Anos raised his hand. "What would that be, my lord?" Richard sighed, closing his eyes. "Anos, I want you, Urza, Misha, and Sasha to watch over Grafia. She, along with Mirajane, has been tasked with training Rius Gremory and her peerage for 2 months. Given that she's PRDNT, I want you 4 to protect her." Urza stepped forward and knelt. "Understood. We will protect her, my lord." She rose to her feet, and both Misha and Sasha joined Anos, with Sasha speaking up. "Congratulations are in order, Lord Lucifer, Lady Grafia. We will ensure her safety." Richard smiled. Thank you, ladies, Anos. He then turned his attention to his rook and pawn. And, I want you and Mocha to watch over my daughter. She may be strong, but I don't want to take any chances. If Kokabil shows himself in the human realm, you both can go all out. Make sure he reveals everything about his plans and allies before ending his life. End grinned, excitement lighting up his face. Now that's music to my ears. At last, I can have some fun with a worthy adversary. Mocha gently tapped him on the back of the head. My apologies, my lord. Rest assured we will protect your daughter. She bowed and Richard smiled at her. Luminous crossed her arms, a scowl on her face. So that leaves me and this Ice Queen. What's our task, my lord? Isteth shot back. You'd better take that back. You're just jealous of my amazing figure. Luminous growled. Why would I be jealous of you? You're delusional. Isteth smirked. At least I have a lover while you don't. Luminous retorted. I feel sorry for your lover having a pig as a girlfriend. As the two continued their banter, Sasha giggled and looked at Richard. Please forgive them, my lord. Richard chuckled. No worries, Sasha. It's good that these two never change. Luminous, Isteth, you will guard Valerie in the shadows and assist her if necessary. She's too prideful to ask for help. Both Luminous and Isteth stopped arguing and responded in unison, Yes, my lord. We will watch over her and provide help if needed. Richard nodded and turned to Sasha. When will we begin the tasks you've assigned us, my lord? Richard replied, and, Mocha, Luminous, and Isteth, you four can start now. The rest of you stay behind, I have more to discuss. The four nodded and bowed before teleporting away. Richard then addressed Anos. I want you to train Rius Gremory's peerage. Mira Jane is busy with that spoiled brat. Urza, Sasha, and Misha will handle their tasks as I mentioned earlier. Each of you has your own specialties, which is why I assigned you these roles. Anos nodded. Understood, it will be done. Urza, Sasha, and Misha replied in unison, Yes, my lord. Misha then asked, Hakuryuko, doesn't that make him your grandniece's rival, my lord? Richard smiled. Yes, very observant, Misha. The reason Hakuryuko was discovered is due to Rius Gremory's selfish attempt to abuse her authority in Kutown to escape a cursed arranged marriage, allowing a fallen rogue to kill him next week. Thus, her authority will be replaced by my daughter. Urza inquired, so if Lady Kana replaces her as the owner of Ku, what will happen to Rius? Richard replied, she will remain but will not be allowed to do anything in Ku once her ownership is stripped. Her actions cannot be overlooked, and she will face the consequences she deserves. Greyfia nodded in agreement. Greyfia was enjoying her tea and snacks made by the twin Necron. Urza stood on Greyfia's right side, while the twins were on her left. Across the field, Mira Jane was training Rius Gremory to unleash her power of destruction. The area around them was filled with holes from lightning strikes, shattered swords scattered across the grass, and large craters from Anos's powerful punches. Akino, Kiba, and Kaneko struggled to catch their breath, their overall power levels significantly lower than Anos's. Anos looked at them with a critical eye. Is that all you three can do? So far, I'm not impressed. None of you have improved despite 3 days of training. Your strength, speed, endurance, and demonic power are the lowest of the low. You're fortunate I'm your trainer. If Mira Jane were in my place, you wouldn't last 3 seconds on the first day, even with her holding back. He continued, she was tough on me and the others during our training, and none of you would survive that kind of challenge. Under the command of my king, Lord Richard Lucifer, I will help you reach your full potential. Until you exceed my standards, none of you are allowed to eat, drink, or rest. Now get up. Time is of the essence. Akino struggled to rise, while Kiba and Kaneko leaned on each other for support. They finally recognized the gap between their strengths and those of Riser's peerage members. It was clear who held the advantage. Meanwhile, Mira Jane was watching Rius as she attempted to unleash her power of destruction. So far, Mira Jane was not pleased with Rius's progress. This is pathetic. Even your mother could do this better than you did at your age. You've been spoiled by your father and brother. Knowing you're facing the immortal phoenix, you didn't train your peerage, nor did you train yourself. You focused solely on making your peerage stronger to fight for you. You are very spoiled. Rius remained silent, knowing that Mirajane would not hesitate to take her training seriously. You will not take a break until you reach my standard. Focus on mastering your power of destruction. Don't you dare stop, I'll be watching you. On the other side, Urza, Sasha, Misha, and Grafia were observing Mirajane and Anos as they pushed Rius and her peerage members to their limits. They had thought Grafia was joking about Rius's strength, but witnessing it firsthand left them speechless. Wow. This is quite pitiful and certainly embarrassing, Urza remarked, her voice filled with disgust. How can they expect to win against Riser Phoenix in the raiding game if all they do is sit around and deal with small fries like fallen angels and stray devils? Rius Gremory is so full of herself, thinking she's great just because of her power of destruction inherited from Lady Venelana. With that mindset, she will never grow stronger. Sasha chuckled, finding the situation amusing, while Misha sighed, reluctant to speak ill of others. Urza, you certainly didn't hold back, did you? But I agree, this is the problem with pure-blooded devils, especially the spoiled ones. Riser has been training hard despite his cocky attitude, so it's understandable why he acts that way. Rius, on the other hand, is not putting in the effort. Misha interjected, come on, you two. I understand your perspective, but there's no need to criticize Rius and her group so harshly. Everyone makes mistakes. We learn from them and improve. Rius's arrogance can be frustrating, but her father and Lord Surzex are to blame for spoiling her instead of raising her to be a competent heiress of the Gremory household. Grafia set her glass down. All right, that's enough. You've made your points, so let's calm down. There's no need for conflict among yourselves, it's pointless. Let Anos and Mirajane handle this. It's their responsibility, not yours. She sighed, hoping to restore some peace. Richard sat on the throne, his daughter Kana beside him. Before them stood Mirajane Strauss, accompanied by Mocha, END, Luminous, and Isteth, along with Hyodo Ise, now known as Tatsumi Lucifuge, and the former Holy Maiden, Asia Argento. Let's hear about Rius Gremory and her peerage's training progress. Mirajane, please enlighten me on what they have learned from you and Anos, Richard commanded. Mira nodded. Rius Gremory has made significant progress in her pod. While she hasn't reached Mao Surzex's level, her abilities are strong enough to inflict serious damage on Riser Phoenix's regeneration. As for her peerage, Himejima Akino and Chiron have unlocked their sealed powers and are mastering them. Hyodo Kiba has achieved a new balance breaker called Sword of Betrayal, a sword forged from both holy and demonic energies. He has even created a holy sword based on Rius's Queen's Holy Lightning. Richard was pleased with the report. Excellent. You may go now, there's still a month left for Rius Gremory's training. I will personally deliver your reward. Mirajane bowed. Thank you, my lord. She then returned to the human world via a teleportation circle. Richard turned to Issei and Asia. I assume you both know why you are here, Hyodo Is, Asia Argento? He inquired. Both nodded and Issei replied, Yes, Lord Lucifer. I can't thank you enough for saving me from Rius Gremory. Lady Kana informed me of Rius's actions to free herself from her engagement. I am truly grateful for your intervention. Asia stepped forward, expressing her gratitude. I also want to thank you for saving me from Diodora Astaroth, Lord Lucifer. If it weren't for you, I would have been trapped forever. I can't thank you enough. Richard then asked, What will you two do now? Are you a threat to devils? Given that you were both targeted by Rius Gremory and Diodora Astaroth, I must ask. Tatsumi responded, I may have a personal vendetta against Rius Gremory, but that doesn't mean I harbor hatred for devils. You and your daughter saved both Asia and me from a life of servitude. I would be honored to join her peerage, but I must decline. I surpass her in terms of power, uncle. Richard and his servants were taken aback, though Kana and Asia remained composed, already aware of Tatsumi's true identity. Richard, still in disbelief, asked, Could you repeat that? My true name is Tatsumi Lucifuge, son of Euclid Lucifuge and Rectifying. Before you killed my father, he sealed my power, turning me into a half-devil and sending me to the church in Ku. However, the spell broke during my training, and I am now a pureblood once again. I am also the 5th super devil, alongside you, Risavim, Surzex, and Ajuka. Kana suspected my lineage from the start but lacked proof. My father may have wanted me to avenge him, but I refused to follow his path, which could lead our race to extinction. I am his son, but I am also Rectifying's. As the heir of the Lucifuge household, I will work to restore its former glory. His power surged, revealing his status as a super devil, causing Richard's peerage to tremble in awe. Your aunt will be thrilled to meet you, Tatsumi. You may be your father's son, but you act more like your mother, Richard said, smiling. Kana thought to herself, he's been this powerful all along. His training was just a facade to hide his true strength. Incredible. Asia broke the silence, saying, I would be happy to serve Lady Kana as her peerage member. Richard smiled at her response, and Kana beamed with joy at Asia's admiration. She turned to her father and asked, Can I have her, father? Of course. She has expressed her longing to join your peerage, so go ahead, he replied with a smile. Kana eagerly approached Asia, producing a set of evil pieces and handing Asia a bishop piece. Hold it close to your chest, I'll begin the ritual. Yes. Asia replied enthusiastically, following Kana's instructions. In the name of Kana Lucifer, I reborn you, Asia Argento, as my bishop. May you shield us and aid us in battle. Rejoice in your new life, Kana declared. As the piece entered Asia, she felt a surge of power, and 6 devil wings sprouted from her back as the light faded. 6 wings right off the bat? You have so much potential. I'm so proud of you, Asia. Welcome to the family. And from now on, call me Kana. You are not a servant, so drop the formalities. Yes. Thank you very much. Asia smiled, grateful for her new king. Richard, his peerage, and Tatsumi all smiled at the sight of Kana and her new bishop. Kana introduced the rest of her peerage to Asia, and they all got along well, especially Tatsumi, who had caught the attention of Erika Blandelli, Stella Vermilion, and Shikimori Daisuke. However, he kindly informed them that he was in a relationship with Asia, igniting jealousy among them. A few days later, Kana headed to school with her peerage, excluding Tatsumi, who had already left for school. Erika, Stella, I want you two to keep an eye on anyone who speaks ill of Tatsumi or tries to get close to Asia to sway her away from him. The last thing we need is the wrath of a dragon, Kana instructed. Leave it to me. Anyone who badmouths Lord Tatsumi for his past will face my wrath, Erika said with a mischievous smile. Those poor souls. But don't instill too much fear in them, Erika. Tatsumi wouldn't want that, Stella cautioned. Though she hoped he wouldn't take his anger out on them, a sigh escaped her lips. Asia remarked, I doubt Tatsumi-kun would care about what they said anyway. He has moved past that mask he used to wear. Kana responded, Normally, I would agree, but given the hurtful things they said, I can't help but think he might instill fear in them. I just hope for our sake that it won't come to that. Medaka reassured her and the others, We will have his back, so no worries. He's not alone. They added, Agreed. They will regret ever opening their mouths. Shikimori interjected, Calm down, everyone. I know you all worry about him, but I'm sure he will be fine. Worrying won't accomplish anything. Tiamat concluded, You've all made your points, so let's calm down. Everything is going to be all right. Once they arrived at the school, they headed to the student council office to get their schedules. Kana knocked on the door. Come in, came Sona's voice from inside. Kana opened the door and walked in with her peerage members, greeting the heiress of the Sitri household. Hello, Sona. How are you? Kana asked. I'm doing great, thank you for asking, Lady Kana, Sona replied. Just call me Kana. I'm not one for formalities. Like you, I'm also an heiress of a great household. Anyway, these are my peerage members, she said, gesturing for them to introduce themselves. They nodded and stepped forward. Tiamat introduced herself. My name is Tiamat Strauss, daughter of the true Chaos Karma Dragon God, Mira Jane Strauss. I'm Lady Kana's queen. It's an honor to meet you, Sona-Sitri. Sona returned the smile. Erica and Stella introduced themselves next. Bonjour. My name is Erica Blandelli, Lady Kana's knight. A pleasure, she waved. Stella Vermilion, knight. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Stella said in a stoic tone. Asia bowed and said, My name is Asia Argento, Kanonissima's bishop. Shikimori added, Same here, the name's Shikimori Daisuke. Medaka introduced herself, the name's Medaka Kurakami, Lady Kana's rook. With a smirk, I said, My name is Raiden Ei, another rook. A pleasure. Sona couldn't help but feel a slight shiver. The presence before her made her feel small. They suppressed their overwhelming power, but she could tell each of them was extremely powerful. It was no surprise, considering their king was the daughter of the strongest super devil. I assume Hyodo he is your pawn, Kana? Sona asked nervously. Kana shook her head. No. He's our cousin, Sona. His name is Tatsumi Lucifuge-Sitri, the fifth super devil and the strongest host of Albion Guiber. Sona adjusted her glasses to hide her shock and handed over their schedules. I see. Well, Asia-san, Erica-san, Stella-san, and Shikimori-san, you are in the same class as Tatsumi-kun, 2B. Lady Tiamat, Medaka-san, Ai-san, and Kana will be in class 3. Kana smiled warmly to ease Sona's fear. Thank you, Sona. She left the council office with her peerage before they went their separate ways. Chapter and Lucifugeville. A month later, Rius and her group were enjoying a lunch break after enduring a rigorous training session led by Anos and Mirajane. Anos was with Urza and Grafia, while Mirajane had returned to the underworld to report on Rius and her peerage's progress. Anos remarked, I'm impressed. They've grown significantly stronger day by day. At this rate, Riser will have a hard time defeating Rius and her peerage. Despite being outnumbered, they possess quality over quantity. Her queen and rook have embraced their powers for the sake of their king, and their strength has exceeded my expectations. The knight has achieved a new balance breaker, the Sword of Betrayal, which combines both holy and demonic elements. He even created a holy blade inspired by Rius's queen's holy lightning using his sword BRH ability. He smiled as he spoke. Urza responded, Those are outstanding results. They can succeed if Rius Gremory doesn't focus solely on getting Hakuryuko on her side to fight Riser for her. At least her training under Mirajane-sama has helped her shed that arrogant mindset. She is now focused on getting stronger. She can do it if she tries. Sasha added, As long as they train diligently for another month, I have no issues with it. Speaking of Hakuryuko, what about him? I heard he was trained by Lady Kana. Do you know anything about Asia Argento, Urza? She asked the red-haired knight. Urza replied, Hakuryuko has been training extremely diligently after realizing the situation he was in. To say the least, he didn't take it well and harbors some resentment towards Rius Gremory and those who wanted him dead. He has rid himself of his previous distractions and focused solely on becoming stronger. He has achieved Balance Breaker and Juggernaut Drive, and he is currently trying to awaken a new form that is far more powerful than Juggernaut Drive. That's all I know so far, thanks to our maniac end. As for Asia Argento, her healing abilities have reached new heights. She can create emerald spheres to accelerate the healing process even from a distance. She has also learned hand-to-hand combat under Mocha's guidance. For someone as pure and kind-hearted as her, she has improved significantly in that regard. Not even Chiron could win against her if they faced off today. Misha was surprised by the results, as Hakuryuko and Asia were both human. It was unexpected for them to have reached such new heights. Sasha and Anos whistled upon hearing the news about Hakuryuko and Asia Argento's training under Kana Lucifer and their fellow members. Anos commented, That's quite impressive. To think Hyodo Ise has improved this much in just a month. He has earned my respect as a warrior. Lady Valerie will be thrilled to know that her rival has become so strong. The battle between the two heavenly dragons will be unforgettable. Sasha agreed. Share your sentiments. I'm also impressed with Asia. She has grown stronger as well. She has earned my respect. I would love to meet her one day. She smiled. Misha added, same here. I would love to get to know her. She nodded in agreement with her twin, Sasha. To Lucifer's throne room in the underworld to Sona and her peerage members. Sona inhaled deeply, preparing herself for the next challenge ahead. The atmosphere was tense as Sona and her peerage stood together, feeling the weight of their situation. Sona spoke, her voice trembling slightly. Kana. The difference in our power is immense. Kana is known as the embodiment of destruction in the underworld. Even the current rating game champion, Dihauser Belial, wouldn't stand a chance against her, especially in her Satan form. He would be defeated in an instant. She possesses 10 sets of devil wings and is currently ranked 6th among the top 12 strongest. Her mother, Lady Graphia, is ranked 5th, and her father, Lord Lucifer, holds the top position as the strongest being in the underworld. Her peers listened, fear evident on their faces as they absorbed the gravity of her words. Sona continued, I need to discuss this with Wani-sama. Who would have thought that Auntie Reiko's son is Hyodo-kun? Tsubaki interjected, her voice shaky. It's terrifying to think someone of that caliber exists. It makes sense why Lady Kana wasn't forced to marry an heir from another household to produce pure-blooded devils. Crossing her would surely invoke Lord Lucifer's wrath. Exactly, Sona agreed. The Devil Council may be arrogant and self-centered, but they aren't foolish enough to risk the extinction of our race. Both he and Lady Graphia are extremely protective of their daughter. See, visibly anxious, asked, what happened to the devil who caused many holy maidens to be excommunicated, Sona Kaishu? And what about Rius Senpai? She planned to bring Hyodo, no, Tatsumi-sama, into her peerage by letting him get killed. I'm scared to know the answer, but I want to understand. Sona looked at him seriously. Diodor Astaroth was disowned by his parents and executed by Lord Lucifer in a brutal manner. As for Rius, her ownership of Kutown was stripped from her and given to Lady Kana. She can live here, but she isn't allowed to engage with other factions unless Lord Lucifer grants her a second chance, which is unlikely. We will share any information we gather with them. Tsubaki then asked, are Rius and her peerage strong enough to deal with Riser to break free from the engagement? Sona replied, it's possible. The one training them is Lady Tiamat's mother, Lady Mirajane. She is a powerful dragon god, not as strong as Great Red or Ophis, but formidable enough to shape Rius and her group into a significant force. I believe Lord Lucifer sent his pawn, Lord Anos Voldigode, to train Akino, Kiba, and Kaneko as well. Lady Mirajane must be focused on training Rius to mstr her powers. Riser won't see this coming until the raiding game. However, I never expected my cousin to attend Ku. Rius is in serious trouble now. Fear gripped Sona's servants as they realized the implications of Rius's actions against the Super Devil. As the school bell rang, signaling the start of class, the students settled into their seats as the teacher entered. Asia and the other girls were waiting outside, quietly observing the scene. All right, class. Today we have 4 transfer students. Please come in, Mizuho announced, glancing toward the door. Asia and the other girls stepped into the classroom, and the students, especially the boys, erupted in excitement at the sight of the appealing new arrivals. Mizuho smiled and encouraged the girls to introduce themselves. Asia went first. Hello. My name is Asia Argento, and I came from Italy. It's nice to meet you all. She bowed politely. Next was Erica. Bonjour. I'm Erica Blandelli, from France. A pleasure to meet you. Shikamori followed, introducing herself with confidence. Hello everyone. My name is Shikamori Daisuke, cousin to Ise and Isabella Hyodo. I'm from Osaka and have transferred here to Ku. Nice to meet you all. Her introduction caused a stir among the students, especially the girls, who were shocked to learn of her relation to Ise. The boys, meanwhile, grumbled under their breath, particularly the 2 who often made inappropriate remarks. One girl stood up, her voice dripping with disdain. I refuse to believe you are related to that vile Hyodo. No way that's true. Another girl joined in, grabbing Shikamori by the collar. I won't ever acknowledge you as his cousin. You deserve better than someone like him. Tatsumi, having had enough of the disrespect, stood up and confronted the girl. I've had enough of this. I could care less about what you think of me, but spitting in my face is a big mistake. He wiped his face and, in a moment of anger, pushed her away. The class fell silent, shocked by his sudden outburst. Mizuho rushed to the injured girl, but Tatsumi's anger was palpable and he refused to back down. She should have thought twice before speaking to me like that. Tatsumi declared, his voice cold. I'm not the same person I used to be, and I won't tolerate disrespect. The classroom was filled with tension as the students watched in disbelief. Mizuho looked at Tatsumi, searching for a way to calm him down. Hyodo-kun, please let her go. But Tatsumi's gaze was fierce. If you interfere, I won't hesitate to do the same to you. His classmates gasped, realizing the truth behind his words. The atmosphere was thick with fear as they witnessed a side of Tatsumi they had never seen before. As the injured girl was taken away for medical treatment, Asia and the others gathered around Tatsumi, trying to soothe his anger. Calm down, Issei-kun. Let them think what they want. We know the real you, Asia said gently, offering a reassuring smile. Stella added, she's right. Everyone understands your message, so just relax. Erika ran her fingers through his hair. I didn't expect this reaction, but those girls really seem to hate you. Tatsumi snorted, I don't care if they hate me, but spitting in my face is something I can't tolerate. Shikimori placed a comforting hand on his cheek. Your anger is justified, but try to restrain yourself. We don't want you to go too far. With a deep sigh, Tatsumi replied, I can't make promises. If they leave me alone, then it's better for everyone. The group shared a moment of understanding, knowing that they would stand by him through whatever challenges lay ahead. Murayama and Keitase watched their friend Tatsumi with a mix of disbelief and fear. It was hard to comprehend how much he had changed in just a month. Kaori spoke softly, her voice laced with concern. I guess he really meant it when he said he was going to change. But this. I know Sato and Miko were wrong, but it feels like too much. Yui nodded in agreement. It's better if we stay away from him. He made it clear that anyone who gets close to him will face consequences worse than what Sato and Miko experienced. I want to live, so I think it's best to heed his warning. After school, Tatsumi was summoned by Sona through the classroom speaker. Tsubaki Shinra, the vice president and queen of Sona-Sitri, guided him to the office, accompanied by Asia and the other three girls. Tatsumi's tone was icy as he spoke. This is about Sato Suzuki and Miko Ichijo, isn't it, Tsubaki-senpai? If not, I wouldn't be called to the student council office. Is Kana there too? Tsubaki felt a chill run down her spine, wishing she could escape. Wait, it is about them. And Lady Kana is there too, waiting for you, she replied, her voice trembling. I couldn't care less if those two are alive or not, Tatsumi declared. The old me is gone, and I won't allow anyone to disrespect me anymore. If Asia and the others weren't here, I would have wiped them out. Disrespect is one thing, but hitting and spitting in my face? They sealed their own fate. Asia and the other girls tried to comfort him. Calm down, Tatsumi-kun, Asia said gently, wrapping her arm around his. I know you're angry, but you can unleash that later. Erika added, Asia is right. We can spar when we get home. I'm sure Stella, Medaka, and Ei would love to join too. You're strong enough to take us all on, but without serious injuries, of course. Stella chimed in, it's true, even if it hurts to admit that you're stronger than the four of us combined. Shikimori nodded. That's right. Tatsumi-kun is currently ranked second among the top 12 strongest. Even Great Red and Ophis would have a hard time beating him in combat. Tsubaki felt a wave of fear wash over her as she walked beside someone so powerful. She wondered what kind of training he had undergone to become this strong. After a few minutes, they reached the office and Tsubaki knocked on the door. A voice from inside called out, Come in. Tsubaki entered with Tatsumi and the others, standing behind Sona. Tatsumi-kun, Sona began, her tone serious. I received a report from Miss Mizuho that you injured 2 students from your class today. While it is within your rights, this was excessive. One of them is barely alive, with only a 20% chance of recovery. I want to know why you chose violence when there were peaceful options available. Tatsumi scoffed at her words. Peaceful options? That would have worked if the old me were still alive, but he's gone. The moment I learned about Rius Gremory and the fallen angels targeting me, I changed. I'm still kind-hearted, but only towards those I consider friends and family. Why should I care about anyone else? He continued, as long as no one except those I acknowledge gets close to me, I will behave. That Sato crossed the line when she spit in my face. She should have known better. I don't want to say this in front of Kana and Asia, but she dug her own grave the moment she did that. She should be grateful I spared her life. As for her friend, she got off lucky. To earn respect, you must learn respect. If they don't respect me, then why should I respect them? Karma is a harsh teacher. Sona gasped at his words, struggling to believe how much he had changed. He had every right to act as he did, given the circumstances. Kana approached him, placing a hand on his cheek. I know you have every right to be angry, but I don't want you to go down this path. You're better than this. It's hard, I know, but you have me and the others with you. You're not alone, Tatsumi. Tatsumi closed his eyes and sighed. I understand. Can I stay with my adopted parents today? They're still worried about me, even though I visited them 3 days ago. Of course, Kana replied. Why not bring them to live with us? If they agree, then why not? But do we have room for them? He asked, opening his eyes to look at her. It'll be taken care of, Kana assured him. A month and 5 days later, at 5 p.m., the story continued. In the ORC, Tatsumi stood next to Rius, representing Graphia at the order of Richard Lucifer. Asia, Shikimori, Stella, and Erika were also present to support him. Rius's peerage members sat on the couch, waiting for the arrival of Riser Phoenix. Tatsumi glared at Rius, his frustration evident. Thanks to your actions last night, I was unfairly punished by Kana. You should be grateful that I'm not confronting you right now. Rius looked down, fear evident in her expression. She had tried to break the engagement, leading to her despicable actions the previous night. Asia, unable to contain her anger, shouted, "And don't even think about apologizing. You're the one who tried to do something terrible, yet he faced the consequences." Erika added her voice to the chorus of disapproval. You really are spoiled. Tatsumi is Lady Kana's cousin, and yet you tried to take advantage of him. You even accused him of something terrible. If it weren't for Tiamat, he would have faced even worse punishment. Our king blames herself for trusting you over him. Shikimori chimed in. Despite being trained by Lady Mira Jane, you still thought you could manipulate him into fighting Riser for you? Do you think you're some kind of princess? You forget that he's related to Lady Seraphal Leviathan and Lady Graphia. Stella's anger surged. And you did this in front of his girlfriend, Asia. I never thought the heiress of the Gremory would stoop so low just to get what she wanted. Can't you accept no for an answer? Your actions have made Lady Kana cry. She doesn't want to eat or talk to anyone. If it weren't for him, I would have loved to confront you myself. Rius remained silent, overwhelmed by the criticism. Just then, a magic circle glowed on the floor, signaling the arrival of the Phoenix clan. Phoenix, Kiba said simply. Moments later, a silhouette emerged from the flames, and with a sweep of his hand, the fire vanished. It has been a while since Riser came to the human world, Riser announced in a self-important tone. Tatsumi could sense the arrogance radiating from him. As Riser scanned the room, he smirked upon spotting Rius. There you are, my lovely Rius. I've come to see you, he said, oblivious to the tension in the air. Rius's expression was one of disdain as she replied, Let go of me, Riser. Riser Phoenix, behave yourself before I make you, Tatsumi warned, glaring at him. And who are you? Riser shot back, his tone dripping with contempt. I'm Hyodo issei, friend of Kana Lucifer and this generation's Hakuyuko. I'm here to keep you both in check under Lord Lucifer's orders. Think twice before you act. Don't make a fool of yourself, Tatsumi replied, forming a white sphere in his palm. Now sit down. before I unleash my energy of destruction. Reluctantly, Riser complied and sat down on the other couch, while Rius returned to her seat, knowing better than to provoke Tatsumi further. After a few moments of silence, Rius broke it. Riser, I already told you that I will never marry you. I've heard that many times, but Rius, that won't do. Your household situation is serious, Riser retorted. That's none of your concern. As the heiress of the Greorys household, I can choose my own husband. My family is rushing me, but I was promised freedom until I graduate from university in the human world. Rius responded defiantly. You're right, you're basically free. You can go to college and do as you please with your servants, but your father and Lord Surzex are worried. They fear your household may become extinct. We've lost many pureblood devils in the last war, and the rivalry with fallen angels and God continues. It's crucial for pureblood high-class devils to unite, and the only truly free heiress is Kana Lucifer, daughter of the mightiest devil in the underworld. You know these children will be important moving forward, Riser explained. He continued, the newly produced devils, including your servants and Kanas, are gaining strength, but we can't allow pureblood devils to go extinct. You and I were chosen to prevent that. My house is secure with my 2 older brothers, but your situation is different. You are the only heir of the Greorys house. If you don't take a husband, your lineage will end with you. Are you willing to let a legacy that has lasted so long fade away? Because of the past war, the number of devils, once known as the 72 Pillars, has dwindled significantly. This marriage holds the future of the devils in its balance. Rius stood firm, declaring, I will not crush my household. I am willing to take a husband, but I will not marry you, Riser. I will marry someone I acknowledge. I have the right to choose who I will marry. Riser's expression darkened as he rose from his seat. Listen here, Rius. I am also a devil, carrying the name of the House of Phoenix. I will not allow anything to tarnish it. You've been given enough freedom, but I will not allow you to disgrace me. You will return with me, or I will burn your peerage to ashes. As flames began to spread towards them, Asia, Shikimori, Erika, and Stella remained unfazed, ready to defend themselves. Kiba, Kaneko, and Akino took defensive positions, prepared for a confrontation. Tatsumi, furious that his cousin's peerage was involved in this conflict, easily nullified the flames with a snap of his fingers, causing them to dissipate. Riser was taken aback when he saw his flames vanish and turned to Tatsumi, who wore an angry expression. Riser's face paled as he felt Tatsumi's power rising. Riser Phoenix! How dare you target Asia, Shikimori, Erika, and Stella? They are Kana Lucifer's peerage. Tatsumi's aura flared, matching that of a super devil, his anger nearing its peak. Both of you will settle this disagreement in the rating game. Do you both agree with this? He demanded. Rius responded first. I agree, as long as I am free from this cursed marriage. Tatsumi then turned to Riser. Riser also agrees, he replied, avoiding Tatsumi's gaze to prevent further angering him. Good. The rating game will start in 10 days. Lady Grafia informed me about this beforehand. Now leave, Riser, before I lose my temper. A calm voice interrupted. Hold it there, man. Calm down. Tatsumi turned to see Enos standing behind him, his presence commanding attention. Enos! Tatsumi exclaimed, surprised. It's good to see you so energetic. Riser Phoenix, still as arrogant as ever, Enos remarked, shifting his focus to Riser, who paled further at the sight of him. P-Prince of Annihilation? What are you doing here? Riser stuttered, fear evident in his voice. I came to keep this guy here in check since he's quite hot-tempered and to see my students, Enos replied, glancing at Rius's peerage. It seems you all are doing well. Akino, Kiba, and Kaneko bowed in respect. Thank you, Enos-sensei, they said in unison. Enos turned back to Riser, his tone cold and eyes glowing. Leave, Riser, before I release issei to deal with you for your earlier stunt. You should know better than to threaten a dragon's mate in front of him. With that, Riser quickly retreated to the underworld, avoiding the wrath of both Tatsumi and Enos. He may be arrogant, but he was not foolish enough to engage in a battle he could not win. A few hours later, Anos returned to the underworld with Asia, heading to the throne room together. I'm sorry for bringing you with me. You're the first witness of what Rius-Gremory attempted last night, and since you are his girlfriend, Lord Lucifer wants you to explain everything in person, Anos said apologetically. It's fine. I want to clear the misunderstanding caused by Rius-Gremory. Tatsumi-kun didn't deserve to be punished for something he didn't do. It was wrong. Thanks to Riser's actions, his anger has reached its peak. I hope Lord Indy, Lady Urza, and Lady Luminous are not too injured. He is like a ticking time bomb, Asia replied sincerely. Anos nodded, understanding her concerns. Everyone has their limits. We are living beings and we can't expect him to keep bottling up his anger. I'm surprised Rius-Gremory would attempt such a drastic action to get him on her side. I certainly don't envy the situation he is in right now. Upon arriving at the throne room, Anos knocked on the door. A voice called from inside, "Come in." Anos opened the door and stepped inside with Asia, closing it behind them. I'm back, my lord. I've brought Asia with me as you requested, he announced, bowing. It has been a while, Asia Argento. Thank you for taking the time to come here, Lord Lucifer said with a smile, then turned his attention to Anos. Tell me everything that happened in the meeting between Rius-Gremory and Riser Phoenix. I want full details. Anos nodded and began explaining. Before Riser arrived, Tatsumi and the others criticized Rius-Gremory for her inexcusable actions last night, as well as how he was unfairly accused and punished by Lady Kana for something he didn't do. If it weren't for Tiamat recording everything, he might have faced an even worse punishment or worse, been killed. When Riser arrived, the argument escalated, and he threatened to harm her peerage. Tatsumi's anger reached its limits, and he nullified Riser's flames with a snap of his fingers. They both agreed to settle their disagreements in the rating game, as Lady Graphia proposed. The rating game will start in 10 days. Richard sighed deeply, pinching the bridge of his nose after hearing Anos's report. That bad, huh? I guess it is reasonable for Tatsumi to be that angry. Rius has ignited a fire within him, and thanks to Riser's actions, he exploded. Truly a ticking time bomb. How was he going to explain this to Kana? She hadn't eaten anything all day and had been crying, blaming herself for trusting Rius-Gremory over Tatsumi. Asia stepped forward, her expression serious. My lord, may I offer a suggestion? Richard looked at Asia and nodded. And what is your suggestion, Asia Argento? Instead of Rius-Gremory and her peerage fighting Riser Phoenix, why not send Tatsumi-kun to face him? Even if Lord End, Lady Urza, and Lady Luminous fight to lessen his anger, it won't be enough. Both Rius and Riser have caused so much anger inside him. He can't unleash his rage upon them. It has to be either Rius or Riser. Considering the situation, I say Riser Phoenix. He must be planning to take revenge on Rius for her actions. Anos pondered Asia's suggestion, stroking his chin. That's quite a brilliant suggestion. I agree with her, my lord. If anyone deserves his unbridled wrath, it's Rius and Riser. Their actions are the reason for his anger. Those two reap what they sow, they're messing with a super devil. Richard nodded in resignation, realizing they were right. The consequences of Rius and Riser's actions were coming back to haunt them. Very well. I grant him the right to fight Riser Phoenix in the rating game. I will send Esteth to inform Rius-Gremory about this. He sighed deeply, contemplating a visit to Zeoticus and Venelana Gremory to discuss their daughter's transgressions against his nephew. Suddenly, a magic circle appeared in the middle of the room, and out came the heavily injured Nd, Urza, and Luminous, their outfits torn to shreds. Asia quickly created emerald spheres to heal them with a snap of her fingers. Their injuries are more extensive than I could have imagined, she said, concern etched on her face. Richard couldn't believe that 3 of his strongest servants had been defeated by Tatsumi. Anos shared his shock, speechless at the sight. I knew they would be injured fighting him, but not to this extent. What could have happened for them to be this injured? Inconceivable. He joined Asia in healing them with his magic. This proves that Tatsumi was truly angry. This is madness. Richard said, summoning Tatsumi by snapping his fingers. A magic circle appeared, and Tatsumi emerged in his newest form. This is Imperio Juggernaut Overdrive. Richard exclaimed, astonished by his nephew's sudden improvement. He couldn't believe Tatsumi had reached this level. Anos and Asia widened their eyes in shock at Tatsumi's transformation. As Tatsumi's armor dematerialized, he looked at Richard Lucifer, knowing he was the one who summoned him. His eyes, once white, were now dark red. "Uncle, what is the meaning of this? Why am I here of all places?" Anos felt a twinge of nervousness at the sight of the boy before him. One look told him that Tatsumi still hadn't unleashed his fury. Asia gritted her teeth, blaming Rius for the changes in Tatsumi. Richard, sensing Tatsumi's rising power, knew he needed to speak with Zeoticus, Venelana, and Layla Phoenix, as their children were the cause of this turmoil. "I want you to tell me everything that happened last night. Kana hasn't come out of her room or eaten the food her mother prepared for her. I want to clear the misunderstanding between you two. I know it's a lot to ask since she unfairly punished you after believing Rius Greorys' accusations," Richard pleaded, not as the king of all devils but as a father. Tatsumi felt no deceit in Richard's words and nodded. "I understand. However, I want to make one thing clear. I do not blame her since she was manipulated by Rius at that time. Asia knows exactly what happened since she was with me. If it weren't for Tiamat, I would have loved to drive the entire Gremory household to utter extinction," he responded, anger evident in his voice. Tatsumi and Asia were peacefully sleeping in their room, wrapped in each other's arms, unaware of the sudden presence that had teleported into their space. Tatsumi, sensing someone nearby, opened his eyes and sat up, startled to see Rius standing near the bed. Asia, feeling a chill, woke up and turned on the lamp, her eyes widening in shock at the sight of Rius. "What are you doing here, Rius? Get out!" Asia exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief. Ignoring her, Rius approached Tatsumi, placing her hands on his shoulders. "I want you to take my virginity," she said, her tone both bold and desperate. Tatsumi's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you out of your mind? Why would I do something so sacred with someone like you? My virginity belongs to Asia," he shouted, his anger rising. Rius, undeterred, began to remove her clothing, leaving only her black panties. As she crawled closer, Asia instinctively grabbed her wrist. "Stop messing with my boyfriend. Get away from him." Before she could finish, Rius used her powers to restrain Asia, leaving Tatsumi feeling a mix of anger and confusion. "What did you do to me?" he demanded, struggling against her hold. Rius ignored his question and continued her advance, causing Tatsumi to panic. "No. Get off me," he shouted, finally breaking free from her control and pushing her away. He quickly pulled his clothes back on and stepped off the bed, glaring at Rius. "Get out of here. You think you can just take me away despite being trained by Lady Mirajane? You really are spoiled." Asia, now free, stood protectively beside Tatsumi. "He is my boyfriend and Kano Nisama's pawn. You can't take him without permission." Rius stomped her foot in frustration. "No. C was supposed to be mine. He was meant to be my servant, not yours. You better take that back, Rius. I won't let you disrespect her." Tatsumi shot back, his voice firm. Just then, Kana entered the room, noticing the commotion. "What's going on here? You two are being too loud." She paused, her eyes narrowing as she spotted Rius. "Why is Rius Gremory here? And why is she?" Before Kana could finish, Rius fell to her knees, pretending to cry. "Iise. He tried to hurt me," she sobbed, hoping to sway Kana's sympathy. Tatsumi's eyes widened in shock. "What? How dare you?" Kana, now in her Satan form, interrupted him, her sword poised at his neck. "Not another word. You will be punished for what you tried to do." With blinding speed, Kana struck Tatsumi, leaving him scarred and bleeding. He could sense that she was holding nothing back, even though he could have fought back but chose not to. Rius smirked at him, enjoying the chaos. "Perhaps I should be a little harder on you," Kana said, her blade still aimed at him. Asia, breaking free from her fear, reached out to Kana. It wasn't him. It was Rius. Stay out of this, Asia, Kana replied coldly, her gaze unwavering. Feeling helpless, Asia watched as her boyfriend faced unfair punishment, and her MSTR refused to listen. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Tiamat entered the scene, holding a video camera. Lady Kana, the evidence is all here. Watch it for yourself, Tiamat said, handing the camera to Kana. As Kana watched the video, horror spread across her face. The footage revealed the truth, exposing Rius's deceit. Rius-Greorys, what are you doing here? Get out. Asia's voice echoed from the recording. Take me, I want you to take my virginity, Rius's voice followed. Tatsumi's shocked response played next. Are you out of your mind? Why would I do something sacred with a despicable pest like you? My virginity belongs to Asia. The truth was finally revealed, and Kana's expression shifted as she processed what she had just witnessed. While Richard Lucifer discussed the issue of Rius-Greorys' actions against his nephew, he revealed Tatsumi's true identity to the four mouths and the elderly devil from the council. They were shocked, as they hadn't expected the son of Euclid Lucifuge and Rectifying to re-emerge from his long slumber. In the human world, at the student council office, Akino, Rius's queen, and Sona, her best friend, engaged in an intense argument with Rius regarding her reckless behavior the previous night. The others watched the trio in silence. Akino expressed her frustration. I can't believe you're doing this, Rius. Are you really that desperate to have Tatsumi on your side? He is Lady Kana and Sona's cousin. Your actions will have a huge impact in the underworld. Having Hakuryuko as an enemy is the last thing we want. He is the strongest host in history, not to mention the fifth super devil. You've been training under Lady Mirajane for the past 2 months. You can defeat Riser now. What else do you want? Sona chimed in, echoing Akino's concerns. I agree with Akino, Rius. Can't you take no for an answer? We devils are still recovering from the Great War and the Civil War. Your actions against my cousin could lead to our race's extinction. Don't forget that your accusations have caused Lady Kana to fall into depression. Even if Tatsumi-kun doesn't retaliate, I doubt Lord Lucifer will. He's the mightiest devil in the underworld, and even Great Red doesn't dare to provoke him. She paused before continuing. Messing with Lady Kana means you're messing with Lord Lucifer and Lady Greorys. They alone could defeat all of us. Together, they would make you wish you never acted as you did. Asia alone could destroy us in a fight, and Tatsumi-kun is in a class of his own. He's far stronger than her. Think twice before you decide to act, Rius. Rius felt anger bubbling inside her as she listened to Akino and Sona's lectures. Deep down, she knew they were right, but her pride wouldn't allow her to accept it. She believed she deserved Tatsumi as her servant to fight Riser for her sake, regardless of his status. Are you both done? If so, I would like to go home and rest, Rius said, narrowing her eyes. Sona couldn't hold back her frustration. Excuse me? This is a serious matter, not a joke. Do you realize the consequences of your actions against Tatsumi-kun? Are you really that blind to the severity of the situation? Sona's calm demeanor shattered as she expressed her concern for their race's future. Rius, feeling overwhelmed, surrounded herself with a crimson aura. I've heard enough from you, Sona. I need all the help I can get. What part don't you understand? That guy is my only chance to escape that arranged marriage. I will do whatever it takes. I will get rid of anyone who stands in my way, regardless of who they are. Her words shocked Sona and the others, who hadn't expected her to go this far for Tatsumi Lucifuge. A few onlookers clapped, but one voice stood out, mocking her. Bravo, Rius-Greorys. You truly are a spoiled brat. Your stupidity is impressive. Rius turned, trembling as she recognized the voice of Esteth, the invincible ice princess. With her were Enos Voldigode and his fiancées, Misha and Sasha Necron. The tension in the room escalated as their anger became palpable. Sona realized Rius had crossed a line, and her statement could lead to dire consequences. Esteth addressed Rius. I came to inform you that Tatsumi-sama will be fighting Riser, as his anger has reached its peak due to your and Riser's actions. Consider this a warning. After Riser Phoenix and his peerage are dealt with, you will be next. This includes your peerage, none of you will escape this. You have awakened a beast within Tatsumi-sama, and this will teach you not to provoke him. He is far beyond Super Devil class, and even Ophis and Great Red cannot defeat him. Rius's peerage felt a chill of fear at the thought of facing such a powerful being. Aquino stammered, "Wis too? We had nothing to do with Rius's foolish actions. I warned her that her idea was reckless." Isdeth interrupted, her expression fierce. "It doesn't matter. She is your king, and as her servants, you will face the same fate. Both Rius and Riser have angered Tatsumi-sama. This is a lesson for you all. If you survive, consider yourselves fortunate." Misha stepped forward, her tone serious. "Just so you know, Urza Scarlet, Luminous Valentine, and END were defeated by him. He has obtained a new form that surpasses Juggernaut Drive. If they couldn't win, what chance do you have? I want to make sure you understand the gravity of your actions." Anos approached Rius, lifting her by the neck. "The Maus and the elderly from the council have come to an agreement. Rius Gremory, you are hereby forbidden from stepping foot in the underworld. Your status as the heiress of the Gremory family has been revoked and passed down to your nephew, Milica's Gremory." Rius stood in the dimly lit room, feeling the weight of her brother's disappointment. The air was thick with unspoken words as she faced him and his wife, Seraphal Leviathan. They had always expected more from her, and now it seemed she had let them down. "You've changed," her brother said, his voice steady but laced with concern. "You're no longer the Rius we knew." Seraphal nodded in agreement, her expression serious. "We just want to understand what happened. You were once so full of ambition and purpose." Rius looked down, her heart heavy. She had made choices that had led her down a different path, one that had distanced her from her family. "I know I've changed," she replied softly. "But I'm still me, even if I'm not the person you expected." Her brother sighed, the disappointment evident in his eyes. "We just want you to find your way back to who you truly are." Rius felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps there was still a chance for her to reconnect with her past and the family she loved. After watching the video, Kana covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face as she grappled with the accusations Rius Gremory had made against Tatsumi. Asia was tending to the wounds inflicted on him by her heir. Kana knelt beside her unconscious cousin, her heart heavy with regret. "I'm so sorry, Tatsumi. I shouldn't have doubted you," she stammered, her voice trembling. Tiamat placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Go back to sleep, Lady Kana. Let Asia heal him for now," Tiamat said softly. Kana nodded, leaving the room with Tiamat, leaving Tatsumi in Asia's care. Anos was furious after hearing the full story of the previous night. He was deeply upset, and Misha and Sasha shared his disgust at Rius Gremory's actions toward Tatsumi, whom they considered a little brother. Mocha mirrored Anos's expression, seeing Tatsumi as her younger brother. The one most enraged was Richard Lucifer, whose daughter's sadness stemmed from Rius's accusations. "Now do you understand why I have so much anger within me? Rius Gremory has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. I want to confront the entire Gremory family," Tatsumi declared, clenching his fist tightly, causing it to bleed. "I will speak with her parents about this situation. I want you to see Kana. Perhaps you can help her through her sadness," Richard said quietly. "I understand. Leave it to me, uncle," Tatsumi replied before walking off to find Kana. Anos turned to Richard. "What should we do now, my lord? Rius Gremory's actions cannot be overlooked. She clearly cannot accept no for an answer," Anos said, his anger palpable. Misha and the others agreed. Rius needed to face consequences for her actions. Tatsumi can confront her after he deals with Riser Phoenix and his peerage. I will allow him to go all out. He needs to vent his anger on them. They will realize they are dealing with a formidable opponent, Richard said with a sinister smile. Rius's heart felt shattered as she faced the consequences of her actions. Sona understood that this was the inevitable outcome for Rius. Her actions were too severe to ignore. While she felt sympathy for Rius, she knew that Rius had brought this upon herself. "You brought this on yourself, Rius. Your pride led you here. You have no one to blame but yourself, Sona thought to herself. After his death delivered the message, she, Anos, and his fiancée returned to the underworld. Rius sat in her chair, defeated. Not only had she lost her territory, but she was also banished from the underworld, her status revoked and passed down to her and Sona's nephew. Don't say we didn't try to warn you, Rius. You should have known this would be the result of your actions. Be grateful you still retain your power. Diodora Astaroth was executed by Lord Lucifer himself. Your crime is nowhere near his level, so Lord Lucifer only banished you from the underworld. Reflect on your mistakes and learn from them. One day you may return, Aquino said sternly. I have to agree with Aquino, Rius. If you hadn't been so determined to have Tatsumi-kun on your side, this wouldn't have happened. What goes around comes around, Sona added. Rius looked down, sadness washing over her. I guess you both have a point. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'll learn from my mistakes and strive to be a better person, she said, determination flickering in her eyes. Suddenly, they were teleported to another location. Saji groaned as he got up after being knocked down by Momo and Kusaka. Where are we? He asked, looking around in confusion. Someone must have sent us here, but who? Tsubaki wondered. More importantly, why is it raining? Complained. I am, a mysterious voice echoed from the clouds. Rius and her group looked up to see Raiden Ei, her expression fierce. Sona and the others knew this situation was about to escalate. Sona asked nervously, Why did you bring all of us here? Ei replied, Before the turkey's demise, someone wanted to confront the former Gremry. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Rius gulped in fear, realizing that Ei was referring to Tatsumi Lucifuge. Sona shared the same concern. If anyone wanted to challenge Rius, it had to be him. Just then, Tatsumi appeared before them. Well, hello there. We meet again, spoiled brat, he said, his voice dripping with malice. Rius flinched and stepped back in fear. TT Tatsumi, she stammered. Sona stepped in front of Rius, looking determined. I understand you're very angry. Tatsumi interrupted her. Move aside, cousin. You're not important right now. My target is that spoiled brat behind you. He glanced at Aquino, Kaneko, and Kiba. As for you three, from now on, you are part of my future peerage along with that vampire. The revelation shocked them, especially Rius. Say what? You have no right to take my peerage, she retorted, but Tatsumi merely snorted. They are no longer your peerage. This is the result of your actions against me, princess. In exchange, you can keep your power, but you will be my personal maid after the turkey's annihilation. Rius looked down, sadness washing over her as she realized she was about to lose her peerage and become his maid. She understood the gravity of her actions and felt deep regret for crossing him. I understand. Do what you want, she said, pushing Sona away and walking toward him. Sona watched in sadness. Rius. Sona whispered. Who said anything about beating you? I don't need to dirty my hands for that. Ice Panther. Tatsumi channeled ice magic, sending 5 massive panthers toward her. They began to tear at her, and Sona and the others could only watch in despair, knowing Rius wouldn't want them to intervene. Rius screamed in pain as the onslaught continued. Ei descended beside Tatsumi. She isn't fighting back. I guess she accepted her fate. She finally knows her place, Ei said with a smirk. Whatever. I don't care whether she accepts her fate or not, Tatsumi replied coldly. Ei giggled and beckoned the trio. Come here, she said, and they approached her. Now behave. You three, along with that vampire, are going to be Tatsumi-kun's peerage members, so I advise you not to anger him unless you want to join your former MSTR. The trio shook their heads, not wanting to experience the same fate as Rius. 10 days later, Richard sent Tatsumi and Riser, along with his peerage, minus Ravel, to the battlefield. They stood before him, some cowering in fear from his intense aura. Riser and Tatsumi charged at each other simultaneously, exchanging blows as they soared into the sky. Riser's peerage watched in awe as Riser landed a punch in Tatsumi's gut, only for Tatsumi to counter with an uppercut that sent Riser crashing to the ground with an axe kick. Riser skidded a few meters before hitting the mountains and then descended. Not bad, Yakitori. If you weren't an arrogant fool, I might respect you. But since you are, you won't earn my respect, Tatsumi said disdainfully. Riser smirked. Heh, you may be powerful but not powerful enough to defeat me, boy. So do us a favor and retire. Not a chance, Tatsumi replied coldly, one hand in his pocket while the other charged hellfire in his palm. Let's see if you survive this attack, Hakuryuko. Riser shouted, firing an enormous amount of flames toward Tatsumi. Tatsumi stood there, emotionless, not even bothering to move. In the viewer box, Surzex exclaimed, "What the hell is he doing? Is he intending to let it hit him?" Seraphal echoed his shock. Does he have a death wish? No one can withstand such an attack and come out unscathed. Luminous interrupted their conversation. No need to worry about him. Worry more about that chicken and his circus of a peerage. They have no idea what they're up against. Tatsumi-sama is just as strong as Great Red. Someone of his caliber is not to be trifled with. It will lead you to your grave. Hearing her explanation, the heads of the Phoenix household and their wife felt dread for their son, knowing he had started this conflict. The Maos gulped in horror, their eyes fixed on the boy. As the attack struck him directly, causing a massive explosion, Riser smirked, convinced of his victory. Unbeknownst to him, Tatsumi had created a defensive barrier just moments before the impact. Riser scoffed, "You truly overestimate yourself, boy." His smug expression faded when the smoke cleared, revealing Tatsumi standing unharmed. Tatsumi looked at him with boredom. Is that all? Some pure-blooded devils are truly arrogant, except for Lord Lucifer and his family, Lord Surzex and his family, and Sona-Sitri and her sister. Rius, on the other hand, is just like you. You discriminate against the reincarnated devils and look down on them. You don't even care about them, and that makes me angry. Luckily for me, I'll never be like you. This is the information you will take with you before I end your life. A devilish smirk spread across Tatsumi's face as he flared his aura. My true name is Tatsumi Lucifuge, son of Euclid Lucifuge and Reiko-Sitri. I'm the fifth super devil, and ironically, I'm the wielder of divine dividing, also known as the White Dragon of Supremacy. Well. He paused briefly before disappearing and reappearing in front of Riser, his fist coated with energy of destruction, aimed directly at Riser's face. That now you know. Bye-bye. The underworld will never miss you, Riser Phoenix. The punishment for trying to harm my cousin's peerage members is death. Now be gone. With a powerful punch, he struck Riser, eliminating him from existence in an explosion that caught Ubeluna and the others in its wake. They lay on the ground, severely injured. Ubeluna coughed weakly, blood escaping her lips. Chow. Is this possible? Why? Killed our Imther. Carlamine struggled to stand, using her sword as a crutch, glaring at Issei with hatred. We may have lost today. Mark my word. One day we will take your life. After saying this, she collapsed, losing consciousness. Tatsumi snorted, How foolish. If your MS-tier couldn't beat me, then you have no chance. Shortly after, Graphia announced in the viewer box, with Riser Phoenix's defeat, the winner of the rating game is Tatsumi Lucifuge. Her voice was filled with a mix of pride and fear, which Tatsumi noticed. He teleported away from the battlefield and walked toward the viewer box, where Ravel chased after him. Wait, she called, grabbing his arm once she caught up. What is it? He asked without looking at her. I want to make it up to you after what my brother did. While I don't like that you took his life, he reaped what he sowed by trying to harm Asia and the others. I hope we can build a trustworthy relationship from now on, she explained. Well then, I want you to ensure those girls don't mess with me. They don't deserve the same fate as Riser. Anyway, I look forward to our next meeting, Ravel Phoenix. He kissed her cheek and walked off, with Asia and the others following him. Ravel's face turned deep red, and she fainted. A week later, Kana had taken over Ku as the new owner, with Sona as co-owner. Tatsumi accepted confessions from Erika, Stella, Shikimori, Medaka, Tiamat, Kana, Valerie, and, surprisingly, Luminous. Urza also confessed her feelings, and he accepted them all. The day after, he was confessed to by Mizuho Kazami and the Kendo duo. Tatsumi apologized to both, and they forgave him. With Asia's permission, who was currently his main love, he was allowed to share his affections with them. The old school building became Tatsumi's base for the future. Currently, both parties were meeting to discuss who would have a familiar first. Sona adjusted her glasses as she spoke. I plan to take my pawn, Saji, so he can obtain a familiar. Are you planning on bringing both Asia and Tatsumi-kun, Kana? Kana nodded in response. Yes. Tatsumi-kun is ready. I want to make it up to him for doubting him that night. He may have forgiven me, but I still haven't forgiven myself. It was unfair to punish him without listening to his side. Tatsumi gently turned her face toward him and kissed her. After a moment, he broke the kiss and smiled. Don't blame yourself for what happened that day. It's water under the bridge now. You're not just my cousin, you're also one of my mates. Seeing you like this breaks my heart. With those words, Kana buried her face in his chest, tears streaming down her cheeks. Sona felt sympathy for Kana, knowing she still blamed herself despite others saying it wasn't her fault. Akino, Kaneko, and Kiba looked away, feeling partially responsible as well. They hadn't tried to stop Rius, even if they disagreed with her. Tatsumi then turned to Sona. Cousin, how about Kana takes Saji with us? That way, all three of us can acquire familiars. I know it's unusual, but it's the only way. I don't mind if you want to duel, but right now isn't the time. In exchange, I'll help you with your council duties. I believe that's a fair deal. Sona pondered his suggestion for a moment before responding. All right then. I'll take your offer, Tatsumi-kun. With your help, the students won't dare to break school rules. After all, you're well known as Kua's demon due to your reputation. Even delinquents are afraid of you. But we will play chess tomorrow. Tatsumi smirked at her remark. Chess? Okay then. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So, Saji, are you ready to come with us to get your familiar? If not, you'll have to wait another month. He walked up to Saji, who grinned. As if I would pass up the opportunity to get my own familiar, Tatsumi. You may be intimidating, but that won't stop me. They fist bumped, and Tatsumi chuckled. I expect nothing less from Vritra's wielder. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Kana and Sona smiled at the exchange. The next day, Kana, her peerage, Tatsumi, and Saji teleported to the forest. A minute later, a man appeared, jumping down from a tree and walking toward them. Welcome. It's good to see you, Lady Kana. I'm surprised to hear that Lord Lucifer allows you to stay in the human world, he said with a smile. Kana introduced the group. This is my newest peerage member, Asia Argento. I also brought Supremacy's pawn and our cousin with me. They are here to get their own familiars. She gestured to the man. This is Zoji, a familiar emissary. Zoji stepped forward and bowed. It's a pleasure to meet you, Tatsumi-san. Tatsumi nodded. The pleasure is mine, Zoji-san. Zoji smirked. For a cold guy, you certainly have good manners. I've heard rumors about you. So, what type of familiar do you want? Tatsumi replied simply, I want a strong one. Asia chimed in, I want a cute one. Saji stepped forward. I want the same as Tatsumi-sama. Zoji nodded and led the group into the forest. After searching for 4 hours, Tatsumi acquired Rika Marvel, the Silver Dragon King, as his familiar. Asia obtained a baby sprite dragon, which she named Rasei, who quickly became fond of her and often slept on her head. Saji received a poison wolf as his familiar. Zoji whistled in admiration. Well, I'll be. These three have quite powerful familiars. It's amazing. Especially you, Lord Tatsumi. You fought the Silver Dragon King like she was nothing. But then again, you are the Super Devil and Hakuryuko, so it's to be expected. Tatsumi smirked at the compliment. Thanks. After bidding farewell to Zoji, the group teleported back to the ORC. Saji returned to the council office. A month later, Tatsumi had acquired 2 sets of evil pieces and recruited Rius's former peerage, the Kendo duo, the school nurse, Tsunade Senju, the ex-holy maiden Rish Irmgard Weitzner, as well as Diodora's illegal peerage. He and Supremacy engaged in a chess match after he outsmarted her. In the training chamber, Tatsumi sparred with Asia, alongside Stella, Erika, Shikimori, and Issei. He teamed up with Asia and Erika, while Stella partnered with Shikimori and Issei. They were evenly matched, though Tatsumi held back significantly to avoid hurting them. Zenobia breathed heavily as she used her strength to keep both Irina and Asuna from confronting Rius. However, the situation escalated as the Hyodo family approached the girl who had caused them so much turmoil. Tatsumi emerged from the magic circle, swiftly incapacitating his parents and sister with a single blow. He carried them to their room before returning to speak with Irina and Asuna, sitting down across from them. Tatsumi asked, "So, what can I do for you 3?" He glanced at them, noting Zenovia's exhaustion. Irina took a deep breath to calm herself before explaining. "Originally, we came to talk to Rius Gremory, but we were surprised to learn she was banished from the underworld after her parents disowned her. We heard that the daughter of Lucifer is now in charge of Ku. Since you are Kana Lucifer and Supremacy's cousin, as well as a super devil, we thought it would be best to speak with you." Zenobia fought the urge to hug him, while Asuna bit her lower lip. Tatsumi nodded, acknowledging the situation. "Yeah, a lot has happened in the past 3 months. This is about Kokabil, isn't it? That warmonger cadre stole 3 fragments belonging to the Vatican and came here. Am I wrong, Irina?" Irina was taken aback that he knew about Kokabil and the stolen Excaliburs. Asuna and Zenobia shared her surprise. "That's right," Zenobia confirmed. "We came to apprehend him and retrieve the stolen fragments. I have Excalibur Destruction." She displayed her weapon, and Irina and Asuna followed suit. "I have Excalibur Mimic," Irina said, showing her weapon. "And I have Excalibur Rapidly," Asuna added. Tatsumi examined their weapons thoughtfully. "I understand the situation. I assume the stolen ones are Excalibur Nightmare, Transparency, and Blessing. You came to inform me to stay away from your mission. I have no problem with that, but if things get messy or if Kokabil attacks me or anyone else, we will have no choice but to intervene. I believe in an eye for an eye. If he attacks, I will deal with him myself. Plus, Irina is my childhood friend, and I will protect her, even at great cost." Zenobia nodded, surprised that he anticipated her thoughts. Irina blushed at his words, while Asuna felt a twinge of jealousy. "I understand," Zenobia said. "It is a fair deal, Tatsumi Lucifuge. I appreciate your understanding of our reason for coming here. If Kokabil attacks you or your friends, we will form a temporary truce to deal with him." "Understood," Tatsumi replied. "Why don't you stay here until your mission is over? I'm sure someone will spend all the money on ridiculous paintings later on. I live with my cousin, Kana, so my old room is available, plus there's a guest room." Zenobia hesitated but realized he was right about Irina. The latter was pouting, and Asuna giggled. "I'll take your offer then, Tatsumi-kun." "Thank you," Asuna said with a smile. "You're welcome. I have to go now. I need to inform Kana and the others to stay away for the time being. We will be prepared if Kokabil attacks us. See you later, Irina." He waved before teleporting away. The next day, Tatsumi woke up and looked at the girls who were sleeping peacefully. Asia was the first to wake, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. "Good morning, appealing," he said, taking her hand and kissing it gently. "Good morning, Tatsumi-kun," she replied, smiling. He got off the bed and grabbed a towel, heading to the bathroom. Asia quickly followed him. 30 minutes later, they were preparing dinner together, Tatsumi making omelette rice while Asia prepared a fruit salad. "Are your legs still sore, Asia? You know, last night we were quite active," he asked with concern. She nodded. "It's still sore, but it's manageable. I can heal myself and others with my twilight healing." "That's a relief. I wouldn't want my uncle hunting me down after finding out about us. He is a Satan after all. Even though I'm strong, I'm nowhere near his level, and he has a lot more experience." Asia giggled lightly. No worries, Tatsumi-kun. Everything will be fine. She patted his back for comfort. Anyway, I have things to do today, so I won't be joining you girls for dinner. The Devil Council wants to meet with me for a reason. Those troublesome individuals. He set the food on the table while Asia prepared drinks. I see. That's too bad. I wanted to have dinner with you, but it can't be helped, she said sadly. He walked up to her and kissed her forehead. Next time, okay? I love you, Asia. A magic circle appeared beneath him, and he returned to the underworld. In the meeting room, the 4 Maos, devil councils, and heads of other households were gathered, excluding Lucifer, as they didn't want him interfering with their plans. They were eager to arrange a marriage between the Lucifuge Heir and the Phoenix Heiress, especially Lord Baal, who loved to meddle. A minute later, a magic circle appeared, and Tatsumi stepped into the room. Surzex, Serafal, why did you call me here? I have an idea, but I'd like to hear it from you, he said. Before they could respond, Lord Baal interjected. You are here to be arranged in marriage with the heiress of the Phoenix household, Ravel Phoenix. It is for the betterment of the pure-blooded devils. Tatsumi sneered. Are you Surzex? He fixed Lord Baal with a sharp gaze. The latter cleared his throat nervously. No, but, Lord Baal stammered before Tatsumi cut him off. But what? I'm asking Surzex and Serafal, not you, so please stay out of this, Tatsumi said coldly. The head of the Baal family clearly did not take this insult well, but fortunately for him, Surzex intervened with a cough. He knew Tatsumi was more than capable of causing chaos, and he preferred not to face his cousin-in-law's wrath. My sincerest apologies, Tatsumi. As Lord Baal mentioned earlier, you were put into an arranged marriage with Ravel Phoenix to preserve pure blood, Surzex said sincerely, with Serafal nodding in agreement. Tatsumi ran his fingers through his hair and sighed. I knew this would happen eventually. So why isn't my uncle here, respected counselor? Don't try to lie and say he couldn't come. We all know that isn't true, so better answer truthfully. I may not be as powerful as my uncle, the Satan, but I can certainly handle you all, Tatsumi replied, his frustration evident. He flared his aura and revealed his wings, which were crimson red, and his eyes turned the same shade. This transformation signified to everyone present that Tatsumi was the Prince Satan. The 4 Maos immediately knelt, followed by the heads of the clans and the Devil Council, leaving Tatsumi confused. What are you guys doing? Kneeling before me like I'm a Satan or something? He asked, curiosity piquing his interest. Surzex's response shocked him. That's because you are a Satan. To be precise, Prince Satan, Surzex explained. Say what? Tatsumi exclaimed, looking at his wings as Serafal pointed at them. To his astonishment, his devil wings had changed from black to crimson. He was speechless, unsure of what had just happened. Oh great. I don't care about the arranged marriage. I admire Ravel Phoenix and will marry her one day, but I won't let any of you counselors, especially Lord Baal, dictate my future. You've stuck your nose where it doesn't belong for too long, Lord Baal. This is my life, not yours, so, Tatsumi's words were interrupted by a communication circle that appeared next to his ear. A voice echoed from the other side. Tatsumi-sama. Yuto and Kaneko were attacked by a stray exorcist, Fried Zelzen, and the fallen angel leader, Kokabil. I'm assisting them along with Asia and Shikimori, as well as the 5 exorcists led by Asuna Yuki, Akino's voice relayed urgently. Tatsumi groaned in annoyance. Where are Kana and the others? Why weren't they with you? Where are you right now? He asked. They were called by Lord Lucifer to discuss something. Right now, we're at the abandoned church, Akino replied. I'll be right there, Tatsumi said, cutting off the communication with a snap of his fingers. I'll deal with you later, Lord Baal. Right now, I have a nuisance to handle. He teleported back to the human world, appearing before Fried Zelzen, who was attempting to attack Asia. Unfortunately for Fried, he was facing a Satan. Tatsumi eliminated him with a mere snap of his fingers. Kokabil, shocked to see a Satan before him, chuckled devilishly. This is good. A Satan after Satan Lucifer Richard has graced my presence. Boy, what's your name? Kokabil asked, his excitement palpable. Tatsumi glared at the warmonger. Tatsumi Satan Lucifuge, the fifth super devil. I'm also the son of Euclid Lucifuge and Rectifying. And I'm here to end your filthy existence, he declared. Asia and the others were stunned to learn that Tatsumi Lucifuge was a Satan after Richard Lucifer. Kokabil, however, was shocked for a different reason. Euclid's son. I heard from Shalba that Euclid had a son born before the Civil War. Does he not know about his father's death at the hands of Richard Lucifer? He thought grimly, realizing he had encountered the son of Euclid Lucifuge. Chapter End. Asia and the others jumped backwards, standing beside Tatsumi after they defeated Cerberus and Valper Galilei, retrieving the stolen fragments. Kokabil growled in anger, realizing he was outnumbered and had lost both his subordinates and the weapons that could be used against them. Give up, Kokabil. You're messing with the wrong people, Tatsumi said confidently. You're a fool to think you can win just because you have the stolen Excaliburs, that archbishop, and that stray pest with you. 5 exorcists aside, my family has been trained personally by Anos Voldigode, Kana Lucifer, Mocha Akashia, and End. Kokabil's expression darkened. You don't scare me, boy. I bet your father is rolling in his grave, upset with you for siding with the one who killed him. I'll let you in on a little secret. Tatsumi raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Oh, tell me about this little secret of yours. His gaze shifted to a shadowy figure nearby, recognizing her presence. That girl is here. I bet she's trying to side with Kokabil due to her dissatisfaction after everything she lost. Turned to his knight, bishop, and rook. You 3, seize her and bring her here. They nodded and moved to capture Rius as he commanded. Kokabil watched them, curiosity piqued. What was that about? He asked. Not important. More importantly, tell me about the secret, Tatsumi replied dismissively. Kokabil, feeling impatient, continued, getting impatient, are we? Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you since you are his son. Your father, Euclid Lucifuge, was murdered by Richard Satan Lucifer during the Civil War. And here's the secret for the exorcists. In the Great War, not only did the original Satan and Maus die, but God died as well. Ha! He laughed hysterically as he watched the exorcists fall to their knees, shocked by the revelation. Asia managed to hold herself together with Mariana's support. Tatsumi, however, felt little concern for his father, but seeing Irina in despair stirred something within him. His crimson eyes locked onto Kokabil, striking fear into him. I don't care about my old man, however, messing with my allies. For that, Kokabil, you are a dead man. He created a POD in his hand, expanding it before throwing it at Kokabil, who was unable to react in time. The attack consumed him. Tatsumi then conjured a massive ice spear, coating it with lightning, and hurled it straight at Kokabil's heart, ending his life instantly. Moments later, the bruised trio returned with the unconscious Rius. Sorry we're late, Tatsumi-sama. She attacked us with her POD, so we had to fight her. She put up a good fight, but we had to outsmart her, Aquino explained. I understand. I knew she wouldn't go down without a fight. Asia, heal them, Tatsumi commanded, reverting back to his normal self as his hair and eyes returned to their original color. Asia created emerald spheres with a snap of her fingers, hastening the healing process for Aquino, Chiron, and Kiba. He looked at the stunned exorcists. Shikamori turned to him and asked, What do you want to do now? Those girls will surely be excommunicated for learning the truth about God's death. With a small smile, Tatsumi replied, I'm planning on adding 4 of them as my new family members. As for Zenobia Quarta, I think Sona might want to have another night. He approached the exorcists, who all looked at him with tears in their eyes, except for Zenobia. They sobbed against his chest, and he comforted them with a hug. Irina, Asuna, Jean, Akame, Zenobia. I know this is hard for you all after learning the truth, but if the church excommunicates you, come back to me, okay? He said with a reassuring smile. They nodded, expressing their gratitude repeatedly. A few minutes later, they began to leave. Tatsumi dusted off his clothes as Rius regained consciousness. "Why those lit?" she started, but her words were cut off as she looked up and trembled in fear at the sight of Tatsumi Satan Lucifuge standing before her. "As Prince of Satan, I, Tatsumi Satan Lucifuge, hereby take your power away and give it to someone worthy," he declared, extending his hand and forcefully extracting her power, weakening her significantly. "Now you are nothing but low-class scum. Chiron, she's now your punching bag." "Thank you, Tatsumi-sama," Kaneko replied, cracking her knuckles as she approached her former dragging Rius away by the collar of her maid outfit. Rius squirmed defiantly, but it was futile. She was too weak after Tatsumi's extraction. "And oh," she shouted in despair. Akino giggled sadistically, liking her finger in satisfaction at Rius's plight. "Can't let Kaneko have all the fun." "Can I join her, Tatsumi-sama?" she asked, looking at her king. "Let Chiron have her fun first. Once she's done, you can have her all to yourself," Tatsumi replied. Chapter end. 3 days later, Tatsumi returned home alone after school, as Kana and the others, except for the student council, were absent. He had no idea why they were all gone at the same time. Irina and the other 4 exorcists had been excommunicated and were now living with the Hyodo family, as Tatsumi had taken them in as his servants. Zenobia, however, had joined the student council after Sona accepted her into her peerage as a knight. In the Sitri mansion in the underworld, Asia looked at the sleeping Reiko, Sona's mother. "So this is Tatsumi-kun's mother, Reiko-sama. She's gorgeous." Kana turned to Sona. "Why do I sense another life in her? Care to explain?" Sona adjusted her glasses and explained, "According to what my sister told me, Aunt Reiko was pregnant when she fell into a coma-like state due to her husband, Euclid, before the Civil War started. He sensed that Tatsumi-kun was beyond super devil, with raw power and aura exceeding his own, and he wanted to use him to overthrow the anti-Satan faction. But before Lord Satan could kill him, he managed to send an ice clone and found Tatsumi-kun at the bunker. He cast a spell that turned him into a half-devil, but what he didn't realize was that the spell was flawed and could be broken when the time was right." Horrified gasps escaped their lips, as none of them knew the history of Tatsumi Lucifuge except for him. Tsubaki interjected before Kana could speak. "So you're saying he's 517 years old if he weren't sealed away?" Tsubaki asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. Sona nodded grimly. "I believe so. He was born before any of us, me, Kana, or Rius. He missed half a millennium with his biological mother, and now it's time for him to meet her. That's why I told the others to stay behind and stall for us. He has done so much for us, it's time we do something for him." Akino frowned, a hint of guilt in her voice. "I don't like lying to Tatsumi-sama, but in this case, you have my word." Kiba comforted her with a gentle pat on the back. "Trust me, Kaneko, Gasper, and I feel the same way you do, but he deserves this. We have to repay him for everything he has done for us. He freed us from being slaves to Rius. I could never repay that debt." Chiron nodded in agreement. "I agree. Thanks to Tatsumi-sama, my body has grown as it should. He opened my eyes to my view of Senjutsu. It hasn't corrupted me. Instead, I feel more powerful than ever. Even during our training with Enos-sensei, I hesitated due to my fear of succumbing to it, but Tatsumi-sama helped me overcome that. As much as I hate to ruin the moment, it's time to go," Valerie said, glancing at the door. "He might get suspicious since all of you are absent at the same time, on the same day." Erica looked at her watch, her eyes widening. "We need to hurry. He could be home any minute now." Kana and the others instantly teleported back to her mansion, with Valerie carrying the sleeping Reiko-Sitri on her shoulder. At that moment, Tatsumi was taking a shower. "Asia, go stall for time. Valerie needs at least 15 minutes to break the spell on Lady Reiko," Kana instructed. Asia nodded and headed to his room. Meanwhile, Valerie materialized boosted gear on her left arm and placed it on Reiko's forehead, trying to break the spell. Tatsumi emerged from the bathroom, towel drying his hair as he got dressed in his underwear, shorts, and a red t-shirt. "Tatsumi and I missed you," Asia said, tackling him to the floor and kissing him passionately. Confused by her behavior, he reciprocated, holding her close as they shared an intense moment together. The others, hearing Asia's joyful sounds, couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. The boys exchanged amused glances. Seems like these girls can't hold themselves back when it comes to Tatsumi-sama, Suji whispered to Kiba, who chuckled softly in response. 30 minutes later, the sleeping Sitri awakened from her long slumber, sitting up with the help of her niece, Sona-Sitri. Easy there, Reiko Basin. Tsubaki, get her a glass of water, Sona instructed. Tsubaki nodded and went to the kitchen. Sona turned to Chiron. Could you go get those too? The Rook duo complied and left the room. Tsubaki returned with a glass of water and handed it to Reiko. Here you go, ma'am, Tsubaki said. Reiko accepted the glass with a smile. Thank you. She drank the water in one go, then suddenly realized she didn't know any of them. Wait, who are you? Did you just call me Reiko Basin? Don't tell me you're... Sona smiled, cutting her off. Yes, I'm Jason and Hana Sitri's daughter. My name is Sona-Sitri, nice to meet you. I'm your niece, or soon-to-be daughter-in-law, as I'm engaged to your son, Tatsumi Lucifuge. Those words hit Reiko hard, and tears streamed down her face as she recognized the figure before her. Tatsumi, she whispered, her voice trembling. He walked weakly toward her, falling to his knees in disbelief at the reunion after so long. Sona stepped back, standing beside Asia, who was still recovering from her earlier encounter. My baby boy, Reiko said, caressing his cheek lovingly. He buried his face into her embrace, crying uncontrollably. Reiko joined him, wrapping her arms around him tightly. Kana and the others smiled happily at the sight of the mother and son finally reunited. I guess we should expect another cousin in a few months, right, Sona? Kana said, tears of joy streaming down her face. Sona wiped her own tears away with a handkerchief and replied, You got that right. Tatsumi-kun will be a big brother in a few months. Tatsumi and Stella faced each other in the training arena, the air thick with anticipation. With a swift motion, Tatsumi kicked Stella in the gut, sending her crashing against the wall. However, she quickly recovered, using the wall as a springboard to leap into the air. Drawing her blade, she ignited it in flames and charged at him, swinging her weapon fiercely. Tatsumi dodged her attack and conjured a sword made of ice, countering her strike. Nice timing, Stella. You've certainly improved a lot since our last match, Tatsumi remarked, admiration evident in his voice. You too, Tatsumi-kun. I know you were holding back since this is just a sparring match. I understand you don't want to hurt me, but it's frustrating not to see you fight at your best, Stella replied, a pout forming on her lips. Tatsumi chuckled at her words. Well, I was recognized as the youngest super devil who surpassed 4 Maos. Of course, I had to hold back in our fight. I don't want to hurt you, Stella, he explained, transforming his sword into water. It wouldn't be fun for you if I held back, so let's stop here. Asia and the others already stopped fighting a while ago, he suggested as the girls approached them. Just then, Medaka appeared before the group. Tatsumi, your childhood friend, Shido Irina, is visiting your adopted parents along with her partners, Zenobia Korda and Yuki Asuna. Sona Kaishu informed me that she insists on meeting you, she announced. Tatsumi nodded, understanding the implications. I see. Is there anything else you want to tell me, Medaka? I'm sure that's not all. Medaka nodded in response. She knows that you're a devil, a powerful one at that. She's aware of Rius's actions against you. To say she's upset would be an understatement. She wants to confront her and even cursed her in front of your adopted parents and sister. Asuna joined in as well, though I'm not sure why she feels so strongly for someone she hasn't even met. The revelation shocked Tatsumi and the others. So they know that I'm a devil and my true identity? He asked, concern creeping into his voice. Unfortunately, they know but don't care about it. To them, you're still their son, and that will never change, Medaka replied. With a sigh, Tatsumi said, Very well then. I shall go now. Thanks for telling me, Medaka. Does Kana know about this? She nodded. Without another word, Tatsumi teleported to his house, leaving Asia and the other girls behind. As the reunion between mother and son concluded successfully, Richard awaited someone in his throne chamber. Beside him were his queen, Grafia, and their loyal chess pieces, pawns, bishops, knights, and rooks. Among them were Anos Voldigode, the twin Necron, Istif, Mocha, and End. Anos broke the silence. I never imagined that Tatsumi would become a Satan after you, my lord. It's fortunate he didn't turn out like his father, no offense to you, Lady Grafia. Grafia waved her hand dismissively. None taken. I'm proud that Tatsumi has become the man his mother would be proud of. Although I must admit, I was surprised to learn he is the second Satan after you, dear. With the power of Hakuryuko, he surpasses Trihexa and is nearly at your level in terms of strength. Her voice held a mix of pride and concern, hoping her nephew wouldn't succumb to darkness like his father. Richard nodded in agreement. That may be true, he said casually, but in terms of experience, he has none. Even so, he's truly a force to be reckoned with. Misha opened her mouth to speak but was interrupted as a magic circle with the Leviathan crest appeared before them, revealing Kateria and Ingvild Leviathan. Greetings, Lord Satan, Kateria said, her demeanor serious. The group tensed at her arrival, taking defensive stances. Anos glared at Kateria. What are you doing here? He unleashed his aura, causing Ingvild to tremble in fear, her terror evident as she felt the overwhelming power. Kateria noticed her niece's distress and embraced her, calming her down. Calm down, Richard said. She is working for me as a spy. Kateria refused to side with the old Satan faction during the Civil War. So, what news do you bring, Kateria? And who is this girl? Kateria released Ingvild and looked at Richard. Anos retracted his aura, standing beside Sasha. Shalba has ordered Ophis to spy on Lord Tatsumi to scout him for their cause, as they are low on manpower after Rysavim's death in the Civil War. They plan to ambush and kidnap him. But that's not all. She glanced at Grafia, who raised an eyebrow in confusion. Euclid Lucifuge is alive, Kateria continued. He is the true leader of the old Satan faction and is planning to unseal Trihexa and unleash it in the underworld to cause chaos. As for this girl, she's Ingvild Leviathan, a descendant of the Leviathan family and my niece. Euclid has his eyes on her, which is why I sent her here, knowing she would be safe under your protection, Lord Satan. Ingvild bowed respectfully. It's an honor to meet you, Lord Satan. The pleasure is all mine, Ingvild, Richard replied with a warm smile. Grafia froze in shock. Euclid has been alive this whole time? Realizing the danger her younger brother posed, Grafia struggled to find her voice. Richard observed her for a moment before addressing Kateria. This is serious. Now that we know Euclid is alive and planning to destroy this world, he might come after his son, Tatsumi. He turned to his knight, rook, and pawn. Istangius. I want you three to stay by his side and watch over him. Inform me regularly. Protect him at all costs and eliminate Shalba and Cruisery if they come after him. If Euclid himself appears, summon me. I'll handle him this time. Now go. Yes, Lord Satan, they replied in unison, before teleporting to Kana's mansion. As for your niece, Mocha, Misha, and Sasha will look after her along with Luminous and Urza. I will contact Lady Amaterasu from the Shinto Pantheon for assistance. I also need to summon the Maos to discuss this matter. Is there anything else you wish to share, Kateria? She nodded. Yes. Hades is aligned with the old Satan faction and the Hero faction. They also have Valerie Teeps in their possession and plan to extract her sacred gear. I don't know their exact plans yet, but their top priority is to kidnap Lord Tatsumi. Richard rested his chin on his hands, contemplating the information. You've done well, Kateria. Continue spying on them and find out their plans regarding Tatsumi's kidnapping. Stay vigilant and ensure they don't suspect you of being a traitor. If they discover your true allegiance, you will be teleported here immediately. He gestured for Sasha to present Kateria with a summoning contract, which she did. Here you go, Kateria. Good luck on your mission, and don't worry about Ingvild. We will take care of her, Sasha said with a reassuring smile. Kateria returned the gesture and tucked the contract away. Thank you, Sasha Necron. Until next time, Ingvild. She waved goodbye to her niece before teleporting away to the old Satan faction base. 3 days later, Tatsumi returned home after proposing to Ravel Phoenix. He had completed the engagement ritual with her, just as he had with Kana, Valerie, and Sona. He had also asked Asia, Irina, and the others for their hands in marriage, and all of them accepted with tears of joy, much to the delight of his adopted parents. Currently, he was accompanied by Isteth Ind and Anos Voldigode as his personal guards. While he appreciated their protection, he felt that his freedom was clearly limited. Tatsumi turned to Isteth, concern evident in his voice. So, Isteth, how are you doing now that your boyfriend betrayed you? I know this might be insensitive, but I care about you. I understand if you don't want to talk about it. I know you're grieving. He watched as a tear slipped down her cheek before she quickly wiped it away. Thank you for caring about me, Tatsumi-ma, Isteth replied, her voice trembling. I'd be lying if I said I was perfectly fine. I never thought he would see me as just a status symbol, boasting to his friends about dating the invincible ice princess. I loved him so much, but clearly he didn't feel the same. Tatsumi gently kissed her forehead, looking deeply into her eyes as he caressed her cheek. No one should ever go through that. He's a fool for leaving someone as amazing and kind-hearted as you. If I were in his position, I would think twice before doing something so foolish. I know this isn't the right time to ask, but would you go out with me? Seeing you like this breaks my heart. You deserve to be happy. Isteth placed her hand over her heart, touched by his sincerity. Tears streamed down her face as she realized how much he cared for her, and the thought of being his girlfriend filled her with hope. Anos and Indi exchanged smiles, happy that she had found someone who truly valued her. However, their moment of happiness was interrupted by the sound of applause. The trio instinctively positioned themselves around Tatsumi, ready to protect him as the familiar figure of Euclid Lucifuge emerged. Euclid Lucifuge! You're not getting near Tatsumi-sama. Anos declared fiercely. By the order of my king, I won't allow you to take him. He cracked his knuckles, while Isteth drew her sword, pointing it at him. You may be powerful, but you're outnumbered. Euclid sneered at their remarks, ignoring them as he focused on his son. Well, hello, old man. I expected you to come for me yourself, Tatsumi said, unfazed by his father's presence. If you think I'll join you, you're in for a disappointment. Euclid scowled at his son's defiance. That's too bad. I will do whatever it takes to overthrow the current underworld in the name of Risavim Levon Lucifer, who was murdered by his brother. It will be difficult to take you with your 3 powerful bodyguards. I'll return with reinforcements next time. With that, he teleported away. Tatsumi sighed deeply, disappointed in his father's actions. This isn't good. I bet Ophis will be one of the reinforcements he mentioned. She's one of the few who could defeat me in combat, and she'll have backup in the form of Kromkrotch, the strongest evil dragon, and 2 descendants of the previous Maus, Shalba Beelzebub and Cruzuri Asmodeus. He rubbed his temple in annoyance, and Anos and the others nodded in agreement. Indi spoke up, should I contact Surzex and the other Maus for assistance? That would be a great idea, Tatsumi replied. We don't know when he'll show up again, so taking drastic measures is necessary. I don't know him as well as you do, so I'll leave it to you. Anos nodded. I will also call Lady Artemis, Athena, and Yasaka for backup. As powerful as we are, I'm not taking any chances if your father brings more reinforcements. Isteth added, I agree. Euclid is very cunning, much like a snake. No offense, Tatsumi-sama. I fought him once during the Civil War. Tatsumi waved dismissively. None taken. If he were on the good side, I might feel differently, but since he's our enemy, I feel nothing for him. He may be my father, but he doesn't act like one. My true family is my mother and my adopted parents, and I'm proud to call them that. The trio smiled at his words, appreciating how he had distanced himself from Euclid Lucifuge. The next day after school, Tatsumi and his friends were walking home together. Chiron had gone ahead, eager to confront her former master. She had been itching to unleash her frustration and had settled for beating up the perverted duo at school to calm her urges. Akino giggled. Kaneko really isn't holding back when she takes on those two. Her laughter startled Asia, who wasn't used to Akino's playful demeanor. Valerie, sensing Asia's discomfort, playfully whacked Akino on the back of the head with a frying pan she had summoned from a magic circle. You're scaring Asia. Wait your turn if you want to have fun. Let Chiron handle her own punching bag. Akino pouted, rubbing the back of her head. Party pooper. That hurt, you know. Kana interjected. Calm down, you two. There's no need for violence. But Tatsumi abruptly raised his arm, a scowl on his face as he noticed the area around them had been cut off from the human world. Come out, Shalba Beelzebub, Cruisery Asmodeus. I know you're there. As he spoke, his friends took fighting stances, and the two descendants of the old Maos stepped forward, applauding him. Pretty observant of you, Shalba remarked. As expected from the son of Lord Euclid. It was an honor to meet you in person, he said with respect, though there was a hint of disdain in his tone. Cruisery replied, We have come to apprehend you by the order of your father. Come along now. As much as I want to eliminate you, I can't, since you serve a purpose for our cause. Cooperate with us, or... He was abruptly interrupted by Tatsumi, who had transformed into his Satan form, revealing 12 sets of blood wings and the divine dividing gear on his back. His eyes and hair had changed, and the duo before him trembled in fear at Tatsumi's transformation, not expecting another Satan after Richard Lucifer. Or what exactly? Do you two believe you are on par with someone of my caliber just because you are descendants of the previous Maos? If that's the case, you are delusional. I am far beyond you in terms of raw power. Even Kana and Valerie could defeat you both in a minute. It's time you realize that you are nothing more than cockroaches that need to be squashed, Tatsumi taunted, a devilish smirk on his face. His companions chuckled darkly at his words. Shalba and Cruisery did not take the insult lightly, as they were proud of their bloodline. How dare you say such a thing? It seems we have to take you by force. Ready, Shalba? Cruisery asked without looking at his companion. Born ready. Let's teach this worm a lesson for insulting us, the rightful heirs of Maos. Shalba declared, extending his hand as the infinity symbol formed in his palm, aiming at Tatsumi, who remained unfazed. Well, my father will lose 2 of his trusted subordinates. Why should I care? Tatsumi replied, and with a snap of his fingers, he reduced both Shalba and Cruisery to nothing. Their blood spilled on the ground, and he reverted back to his normal form with a sigh. Tell my uncle that both Shalba and Cruisery have been dealt with, he instructed his cousin, who nodded and teleported to the Lucifer castle along with Tiamat, as she was her queen. So now what? Your father will be upset when he finds out that you killed his subordinates, Isdeth remarked, looking at Tatsumi, who had accepted her feelings the night before. I agree with her, Tatsumi-sama. You are more than capable of taking care of yourself, but you once said there are a few individuals who could take you down, and one of them is the Infinity Dragon god Ophis. What if she comes after you next? Luminous interjected. While it's true that she is capable of doing so, if she thinks I will go down without a fight, she is sorely mistaken. Plus, if I haven't completely mstred my Satan form, when that time comes, I will use my trump card, Imperio Juggernaut Overdrive. That will hold her back until reinforcements arrive, Tatsumi explained. His companions nodded, knowing Ophis would be in for a surprise if she thought she could win easily. They understood the power of Prince Satan, especially since he was the current host of Albion Guiber. Days later, Lord Baal and the Devil Council members were executed personally by Tatsumi's Satan Lucifuge, and new members were installed soon after. Serorg Baal was given the power of destruction, which he extracted from Rius by implanting it inside him. The peace conference between the 3 factions went smoothly without any interference. The Youth Devil Gathering also proceeded without issues, and the 3 factions formed an alliance with the Norse pantheon. Rosweiss joined Tatsumi as his rook and became one of his companions. Tatsumi and his peerage, along with some of Sona's group, went on a trip to Kyoto. On their first day, they were ambushed by the yokai faction led by Kunu, the daughter of Yasaka. They met Kunu again when called by Azazel and Seraphal, which cleared up the misunderstanding between her and Tatsumi's group. On the second day in Kyoto, Tatsumi and his peerage were attacked by the hero faction led by Cao Cao. Tatsumi and his group battled Cao Cao and his henchmen, overpowering them. As Tatsumi fought Cao Cao, Kiba and Asuna faced Siegfried, Kaneko and Rosweiss fought Heracles, and Irina dealt with George. Cao Cao and his group retreated, realizing they stood no chance of winning. However, before they could escape, Tatsumi trapped them inside a barrier and ended their lives without mercy, confiscating their weapons. Soon after, they went to Nijo Castle, where Yasaka was hidden, and freed her. They stayed in Kyoto for a few days before returning to Ku. Tatsumi secretly met Gabriel and Amaterasu, and they began dating after both confessed their feelings. Reiko gave BRH to a baby girl named Olivia Lucifuge. Months later, Tatsumi was ambushed by Ophis, the Ouroboros dragon god, and Krumkrotch, the strongest evil dragon. However, they failed to retrieve him as Tatsumi, entering Imperio Juggernaut Overdrive, fought them to a standstill. Ophis and Krumkrotch, realizing they were being overpowered, began to intensify their efforts. Just when their luck seemed to run out, Anos Voldegode, Istif E&D, Lady Yasaka from the Yokai faction, and Amaterasu, Athena, and Artemis from the Shinto pantheon emerged from a magic circle to aid him. Tatsumi dematerialized his armor, breathing heavily. Not so confident now, are you? You think you can win against all of us after our fight? As powerful as you are, I can't help but wonder why you follow orders from my father, who is significantly weaker than you. I can understand Ophis, but not you, Krumkrotch, Tatsumi stated. Krum cursed under his breath, not expecting to be overwhelmed by one entity despite joining forces with Ophis. Seeing no way out, he explained, "Your father threatened me and Ophis with the blood of Samel, so neither of us had a choice in the matter. He compelled us to follow his orders without question or face dire consequences. Naturally, I wanted to live, so I complied. I understood the power he wielded, being a Satan after Richard Lucifer. As arrogant as I might be, I wasn't foolish enough to challenge someone so far beyond me." Tatsumi then turned to Ophis. "I know you seek silence and I'm working on it. I'm trying to create a vortex where you can find that silence. You don't have to do what my father demands of you. To him, you're just expendable." Ophis considered his words before responding. "That sounds tempting. All right, you have a deal, Tatsumi Satan Lucifuge-Sitri. I'm intrigued by this vortex you mentioned. How long will it take to be ready?" "Give me a week," he replied with a smile. Ophis nodded, satisfied. "Very well. I won't pursue you, and the same goes for Krumkrotch." Before Krum could object, Tatsumi had an idea. Ophis departed, uninterested in staying any longer. "I can spar with you anytime you want, but in exchange, there's something I want you to do," Tatsumi proposed. Krumkrotch, a battle enthusiast, was intrigued. "You have a deal. I know you want me to take care of your father, I'll get it done." With that, he teleported away, leaving a somber Tatsumi and the others behind. Anos placed a hand on Tatsumi's shoulder. "Nicely done, Tatsumi-sama. With this, we can truly achieve peace. Your father is the last enemy we need to eliminate. It was a tough decision, but the right one." Istef added, "He's right, Tatsumi-kun. I know it's hard for you to think about killing your own father, which is why you asked Krumkrotch to do it for you." She approached her fiancé and took his hand. Tatsumi looked at them with a small smile. "Thanks, everyone. Anyway, let's go home." With that, they teleported back to Kana's place. As soon as they appeared in the living room, they saw Asia cradling a blonde baby girl, while Irina held a baby girl with hair the same color as his own. Olivia crawled to her big brother, who picked her up and held her in his arms. He then walked over to Asia and Irina. "Asia, meet your baby girl. I named her Aries Satan Lucifuge-Sitri Argento," Asia said, smiling as she gently rocked her daughter. Tatsumi shed tears of joy, overwhelmed by the reality of being a father. Irina then spoke with a smile, "Tatsumi, meet our daughter. I named her Riko Satan Lucifuge-Sitri Hyodo." Tatsumi kissed both Asia and Irina gently on the forehead. Thank you, both of you. This is the happiest day of my life. The girls smiled at him, though a hint of jealousy flickered in their eyes, which they chose to ignore for now. Reiko approached her son, ruffling his hair. Thank you for blessing me with 2 grandchildren, Tatsumi. Anytime, Mom, he replied with a smile. Miki and Goro approached him, beaming with pride. Your mother is right, I said. Even though you aren't our biological son, we love you as our own. Thank you for giving us grandchildren to spoil, Goro said. Miki added, your father is right. We love you just as much as we love Isabella. Thank you for being our son. Tatsumi handed Olivia to his mother and embraced his adopted parents, who returned the hug. I'm the one who should thank you. You took care of me all these years, putting up with my antics and still loving me. You may be my adopted parents, but to me, parents will always be parents. And soon, I'll be your son-in-law since Isabella is one of my fiancés. Chapter end. 17 years later, Tatsumi Satan Lucifuge-Sitri had married all his partners, and their children had grown up to attend Ku Academy as second-year students under alias names. The only ones who knew their real names were their family, relatives, and peerage. In the nearly 2 decades since, Euclid Lucifuge and his loyal followers had been defeated by Cromcroch. Ophis had finally obtained the silence she had always desired. Hades and Rius were sealed away in the depths of the underworld, in Cocytus, for eternity. Kana had become the head of the Lucifer clan, with her son, Michael Satan Lucifuge-Sitri Lucifer, as the heir. Each of Tatsumi's children had become the heir or heiress of their respective clans, with Valis Satan Lucifuge-Sitri Lucifer becoming the heir of the Satan clan. Goro and Miki had passed away due to heart cancer. Kiba had married Tsubaki Shinra and Zenobia Korda, while Saji was married to Momo Hanakai and Ruruko Nimura. Gasper had married Letitia. Sasha, Misha, Enos, and Mocha were chosen to be the godparents of Tatsumi's children. Peace had finally been achieved after centuries of conflict. Tatsumi and his wives were enjoying a cruise for their wedding anniversary, but unexpectedly, Olivia and Reiko joined them. Olivia had developed a strong attachment to her older brother, much to Reiko-Sitri's displeasure. Despite being a Mao, Surzex was wary of the Lucifuge matriarch, knowing she would not be pleased to learn he was the one who had influenced her sweet, innocent daughter. Tatsumi had once confronted Surzex fiercely for corrupting his younger sister, and Gray could only hope for the Mao's survival after that encounter. I love you, big brother, Olivia said sweetly, nuzzling against Tatsumi's chest. Tatsumi couldn't help but think that if Surzex had corrupted Olivia again, he would have to confront him once more. Reiko sighed deeply, observing her daughter's behavior. She has some of Bakazex's tendencies. Let's hope it doesn't escalate to his level. Tatsumi would definitely tear him apart for that. Inside the cruise, Tatsumi's wives watched their sister-in-law with a mix of jealousy and longing, wishing to be in her place. This is not cool. We were supposed to make unforgettable memories during our wedding anniversary. Kana exclaimed in annoyance. Sona adjusted her glasses and replied, as much as I dislike this scene, we have Surzex to blame for it. He turned her into a massive brocon. I agree with Sona, Asia added, a hint of disappointment in her voice. He influenced her with his tendencies when he spoiled her rotten. Tatsumi-kun was furious when he found out and confronted him for corrupting her. Rossweiss nodded in agreement. Indeed. I witnessed that moment. He didn't hold back when it came to Olivia. The rest of the wives nodded in agreement, sharing their thoughts on the situation. The end. Chapter end. Magic Circle, Lucifuge-Sitri. Weapons. Demonic Sword Graham. Demonic Sword Turfing. Familiar, Silver Dragon King, Rika Marvel. Human Form. Dragon Form. In a realm where magic intertwined with the fabric of reality, Richard Lucifer stood as the embodiment of destruction, a figure of immense power known as the strongest super devil. His presence commanded respect and fear, for he was the Crimson Satan. Among the powerful beings in this world were Trihexa, the beast of the apocalypse, alongside Tatsumi Lucifuge, Great Red, and Ophis, who represented the pinnacle of dragonkind. They were known as the true Red Dragon God Emperor and the Infinity Dragon God, each holding a significant place in the balance of power. Mira Jane Strauss and Wendy Marvel, known as the true Chaos Karma Dragon God and the true Silver Dragon God, were formidable allies, their abilities complementing one another in battle. They often found themselves alongside the Trimurti, Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu, who were revered as the strongest gods. Graphia Lucifer Lucifuge, Anos Voldigode, Luminous Valentine, and his death formed a powerful coalition, each one answer in their own right. They were known for their strategic minds and unmatched combat skills, making them a force to be reckoned with. Draeg Wygoch and Albion Gwyber, two heavenly dragons, stood alongside Crumcroch and Kana Lucifer, the embodiment of destruction and chaos. Together, they represented the might of dragonkind and the forces that shaped their world. Tiamat Strauss, Rika Marvel, and Valerie Lucifer were known as the Chaos Karma Dragon King, Silver Dragon King, and the Red Dragon Emperor, respectively. Their unity was a testament to the strength found in collaboration. Surzex Lucifer, Seraphal Leviathan, and Ajuka Beelzebub were pivotal figures in the underworld, each embodying different aspects of power and strategy. Surzex, the embodiment of destruction, was known for his beauty and strategic prowess, while Seraphal and Ajuka complemented him with their unique abilities. The invincible knight Urza Scarlet, alongside Mocha Akashia, End, Medaka Kurakami, and Raiden Ei, formed an impregnable fortress of strength and skill. Their reputation as the strongest trio was well-deserved, as they faced challenges head-on. Sasha and Misha Necron, along with Erica Blandelli and Stella Vermilion, were recognized as MSTR strategists and magicians, their tactical minds making them invaluable in any conflict. Lastly, the Thunder Gods Thor and Indra brought their immense power and strategic insight to the battlefield, ensuring that their presence was felt across the realms. Asia Argento and Mariana, a duo of MSTR strategists and tacticians, wielded their magical abilities with precision, further enhancing the strength of their allies. In this world of magic and power, alliances were forged, battles fought, and destinies intertwined, as each character played their part in the grand tapestry of existence.